that these are not people who think they know it all, or that they're trying to become what they hate, which is essentially what a lot of people become eventually. If we have time, I'm going to, not today definitely, but maybe we'll go through the letter that they sent to the government, to the executive, judiciary, and legislature. Maybe we'll check it out to understand exactly what it's about. They've done a lot of work, and this is not the first time he's speaking. He's been speaking for a long time. And you also heard that phrase, a country of nations. Nigeria is a country of many nations. It's not a nation on its own. There's no language, there's no culture, there's no ancestral connection, there's no commonality of any kind. We're just bundled together by the Oyinbo, which is okay, but you don't run a nation that was put together, for administrative convenience, the same way you would run a nation that was either, that evolved organically or even through conquest. Even if you see, it's better to conquer people and create an ethnic group than to have this thing where you assume that everybody is at the same level and we're all the same. It's nonsense. Well, Nigeria is not that, okay, unless we want to just deceive ourselves. But we're not deceiving ourselves anymore, apparently. And it's good to have Dr. Akin Fakponda share that with the rest of us. I hope you've learned something from there. We may discuss this much, in depth, but give me a second. I'm trying to get folks on YouTube back. Okay, if you're on YouTube, I apologize. I think it was a technical issue, just pushed you out, but I'm glad you guys are back. Okay, so that's that about what the Afeni Ferry and other groups. The other groups are also working with them. You know what? Let me read something to you from that document before we move on to other news. So they're partnering with, folks from the Middle Belt, from the South, even from the Southeast as well. Okay, and I'm hoping that folks in the Northeast and Northwest, will also become part of the move. You have to see this thing from a countrywide perspective. This thing will benefit every single person, every single region. This is not about just Yoruba people. And that's what I've noticed also in Nigeria's history. I don't have to toot our own horn, but the truth of the matter is that our fathers are very altruistic, right? It's about what will benefit myself and yourself and every other person, not selfish, parasitic mindset. So I'm hoping that everybody will see things from the same perspective and will be able to move forward. So this, they talked about, in the letter, talked about tribute and acknowledgement of office, challenge of over centralized governance, the merit of decentralized governance, regional autonomy for the Yoruba nationality, necessary constitutional amendments, summary of demands by the Yorubas of Nigeria, and so on and so forth. We're going to have a session here where we'll go through all of these things, in order to be able to enlighten ourselves about what exactly is going on, and also so that as Yoruba people, and I want to speak to us specifically, there are people, I'm sure they enjoy what we do here, and I like the fact that they come around a lot, but it happens almost in every comment section of every video that we put out, especially on YouTube. There are Yoruba people who feel that the only thing that makes sense is to balkanize Nigeria. And so when you talk, they say, oh, no matter what you're saying, we was, and the only question they ask, and I understand where they're coming from, but I ask them a question: how do you intend to do it? And I'll tell you this: for this 2016, I've been asking that question for about 6-7 years, about 6 years. Nobody has ever told me they don't have any plan. See, Efiarabale. Efiarabale. Zeal is not enough. Zeal is not enough. Especially when you're thinking about other people. This is not about you. It's not about me. It's about Yoruba people. It's about other groups in Nigeria. It's not about gidigbo gidigbo. Those who gidigbo. Okay. So this other path, right? It takes you more time. You're thinking, you're planning. It's talking about what we'll have in the next 4 years or 5 years. If they go through this, if they go through that, you know what they've been talking about for a while. It's you have to do the work. It's not about kadagberu. Teba da o about tunsha. Bite wa telegon. Ape yin ke wa bite wa tele ju tema wa teba ti pa dagberu tan lo. Tora àwọn tó máa gbà ńgbà teba daru tan kì í ṣẹ̀yin ló máa gbà o. It can't be you because you're not going to have power over it. You can't control anything. They are they are waiting for you to just goof. You just go and do your gbaragbara. All that to say that I understand where we are coming from, but please, when we have sessions to have conversations like this, let's try and understand what's really going on. It's beyond passion and zeal and I'm sure we understand. All right, let's move away from that. We're going to come back to this much later. Thank you, Preacher's Boy Sam on YouTube. Thank you for being back. Please let's like the live on YouTube and on Facebook as well. I apologize for the break we had earlier. It was due to technical issues. All right. State policing. Well, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has, directed the IGP or the acting IGP Tunji Disu to do something in terms of creating a committee, an implementation committee, of state police. And he had a meeting. That was the acting IGP. I'd like you to listen to what he had to say. And by the way, this was the inauguration of the State Police Implementation Committee. Take a listen, please.
Stakeholders, senior officers, and invited guests, I want to welcome you all honoring this important occasion. It is my greatest privilege to formally demand to strengthen Nigeria's internal security and ensure that policing in our community remains responsive to challenges. This requires innovative thinking, strategic collaboration, and a willingness to explore reform that will enhance our capability. This committee on state police we are inaugurating today has a critical responsibility. Your work will help shape the framework through which state policing may operate in Nigeria in a manner that strengthens rather than fragments our national security system. In carrying out, we are guided by professionalism, objectivity, and a clear appreciation of the unique complexity of policing in a diverse nation like our own. Among other responsibilities, the committee is expected to review existing police models within and outside Nigeria, assess community security needs and emerging risks amongst the country, propose an operational framework for the establishment and coordination of state police structures, address issues relating to recruitment, training standards, and resource allocation, develop robust accountability and oversight mechanisms to ensure professionalism and public trust. If thoughtfully designed and effectively implemented, state policing holds significant potential benefits for our country. By bringing law enforcement closer to the communities, State police institutions can deepen local knowledge of security dynamics and enable quicker and more targeted response to emerging threats. Furthermore, the decentralization of certain policing responsibilities can allow for more efficient allocation of security resources. State governments and local authorities will be better positioned to respond to specific security challenges within their jurisdiction, while the federal government continues to focus on broader national security. The Nigerian police force will continue to play its constitutional role as the primary national law enforcement institution responsible for maintaining internal security across the federal. Efficiency policing by allowing the federal police to concentrate more strategically on complex and transnational crimes such as terrorism, organized crimes, cybercrime, trafficking network, and other serious security threats that require national coordination and specialized capacity. Let me therefore reassure the officers and men of the Nigerian police force that their relevance, responsibilities, and professional importance within Nigeria's security architecture remain both intact and indispensable. The vision we seek one of synergy, not competition, partnership, not duplication. With diligence, intellectual rigor, and a deep sense of patriotism, the expectations of Nigerians are high, and the outcome of your work will play a significant role in shaping the future of policing in our country. On this note, it is my honor to formally inaugurate the Committee on State Police and to wish you a fruitful deliberation. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Today's event.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Carrie's Events, for reminding me of that. That the former acting IGP is not the substantive, IGP, having been confirmed by the Nigeria Police Council. So he is the IGP, Tunji Disu, not just the acting IGP anymore. But the news, of course, is that he inaugurated the implementation committee on state police. That's one of the reasons I like the president, to be honest, right? Is going for everything that could actually get Nigeria properly structured. You can't have a nation this big and you're coordinating everything from Abuja. It makes no sense. You have a situation where your policemen don't even know your neighborhood, right? And they don't even speak your language, but they're everywhere because it's supposed to be fair that, there is federal character. It just doesn't make sense, okay? People don't know the terrain of the place they are placing. They don't know the people. They can't speak the language. They don't understand the neighborhood, but they are displaced. Nah. I think to go, and of course, whatever has to be done to make sure that also doesn't get abused, I'm sure they're going to put all of that in place. Having said that, let's move very quickly. At the presidential villa, the IGP Tunji Disu was interviewed by some newsmen, and this is what he had to say when he was asked questions. Take a listen. I'll play one he spoke in different languages, so you're going to figure out which one it was or which language he was speaking per time. Take a listen, please.
Kí wọ́n retí látọ̀dọ̀ mi ni pé a fẹ́ make sure pé a ṣiṣẹ́ wa déédéé bó ṣe yẹ ká ṣiṣẹ́. Mo fẹ́ jẹ́ kí àwọn ọlọ́pàá mi mọ̀ pé àwọn èèyàn ni wọ́n ń sanwó oṣù wa, àwọn dẹ̀ ní ọba wa, so a láti jẹ́ kí wọ́n sùn kí wọ́n díjú wọn. Then mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ make sure fáwọn ọlọ́pàá mi náà kí ìjọba kó tọ́jú wọn, kó fún wa ní nǹkan tí a máa fi ṣiṣẹ́ yìí, torí ẹni tí ìjọba bá tọ́jú lórí ẹ̀ máa wú láti ṣiṣẹ́ dáadáa. Àmín.
Sir, you set up a committee, 8-man member committee earlier today.
By the way, I think I just said what he's saying. He's saying that he's talking about the expectations that he wants people to have, that folks should, or I should have interpreted what I want to. Essentially, people should work with the police, and the police should understand the fact that the people are king and they're the ones who pay them, and that they will also work to ensure that they have the equipment they require, the tools they require to be able to do their work, and also for the government to take care of them. Essentially, that's what he said in Yoruba language, but this one is in English. Take a listen.
The committee, Ikman held that committee earlier today. Tell us about that committee and what you hope to achieve with it.
Yeah, the committee was set up early this morning to look into the issue of state police from the angle of the Nigerian police. We don't want it to seem as if others are taking decision and we, the most important people concerned, did not do anything. We want to ensure that the best thing is done. State police has come to stay, and the police should be able to contribute their own part in making it succeed. The police are not afraid. Our jobs are not being taken. It's just an issue of partnership.
One of the issues that the police have over the years is the welfare of its officers. How do you intend to address this issue?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, it is somebody that is well motivated that will put in their best. Our jobs are very difficult. Some few years ago, when I was the Commissioner of Police, FCT, I was bold enough to announce that we lost 140 policemen just in a year. So the jobs are difficult. Men sleep out. A lot of people don't have time to go back to their families. So the welfare is very, very vital. And I'm lucky to be working with a president who has made up his mind to give us whatever we want.
Thank you for listening. Congratulations.
Congratulations again, sir.
All right, that was the IGP Tunji Disu, and fantastic interaction there. Just like to quickly give you like a rundown of some dates. On 10th June 2024, the governors of the Southwestern region met and agreed on state police. That was 2024. On the 25th of the same month, the Southern Governors Forum met and also asked for state policing. Last year, 26 November, that's in 2025, the Southern Governors met again and they talked about the fact that state policing was non-negotiable for Nigeria's survival. And that same day, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu called on the National Assembly to begin reviewing our laws to allow states that require state police to establish them. In other words, if your states don't want state policing, that's okay. It's okay. You don't. But those of us who want one, we can have whatever we want. And the beautiful thing is that both the NSA and the IGP are on the same page with the president. So we'll see how this plays out, and we are hoping that it will affect the security architecture of Nigeria and make things better for us. Okay, so that's a very good one. So yeah, the president appointed the IGP, like we said earlier, but he also appointed somebody else. And this one, I think, is a very brilliant move. I need to find you the news. The news is about the new Minister of Finance, Minister of State for Finance. That's Mr. Taiwo Yedele, who was the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms. He has now been nominated by the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as Minister of State for Finance, and his name has been conveyed to the Senate for confirmation. The woman who was there before, Dr. Doris Uzoka Anite, has been redeployed to the Ministry of Budget and National Planning as Minister of State there. All right, so that's good news. I really like this. It is round peg in a round hole. And it looks to me, it not even looks to me, I'm sure you already see it, you know it, that the president seems to be very keen on discovering talent and also deploying them appropriately. This is fantastic, considering the work that Taiwo Yedele did as chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform. We're going to move very quickly now. Okay, this is from Bayo Nonuga State House press release. President Tinubu nominates Oyedele as Minister of State for Finance. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has nominated Mr. Taiwo Oyedele as the Minister of State for Finance, replacing Dr. Doris Uzokanite. Uzokanite will now move to the Ministry of Budget and National Planning as the Minister of State, a third portfolio in the administration. President Tinubu has today conveyed the nomination of Oyedele to the Senate for confirmation in a letter to the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Until President Tinubu nominated him as a minister, Oyedele from Ikaram, Akoko, Ondo State was the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, which overhauled Nigeria's tax system. Oyedele 50 is an economist, accountant, and public policy expert. He attended Yaba College of Technology, where he obtained a higher national diploma HND in accountancy and finance. He attended Oxford Brookes University and earned a BSc in applied accounting. He also completed executive education programs at the London School of Economics, Yale University, the Gordon Institute of Business Science, and the Harvard Kennedy School. Oyedele spent 22 years of his working career at PwC, joining in 2001 and rising to become the fiscal policy partner and Africa tax leader. Oyedele is also a professor at Babcock University in Ogun State and a visiting scholar at the Lagos Business School. That's from the special advisor to the President's Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Ononuga. We're going to move away from Mr. Oyedele now, which is actually very good news, and I'm very proud of him, but I'm proud of someone else. This one is a Yoruba man, but the news is from outside the country. Botswana recently appointed a Yoruba man, trying to get his name, Akinwole Omoboriowo, as vice chairman to drive power sector reform. Botswana Power Corporation names Akinwole Omoboriowo vice chairman to drive power sector reform. I'll just quickly read some things here. Botswana appoints Nigerian energy executive Akinwole Omoboriowo. By the way, Omoboriowo is the son of the former deputy governor of Ondo State in the UPN days, Akin Omoboriowo. Botswana energy sector is set to gain a new strong voice with clear vision at its highest levels following the appointment of Nigerian energy leader Akinwole Omoboriowo as board member and vice chairman of the Botswana Power Corporation's BPC Board of Directors. The move, confirmed on BPC's official website, comes as the nation seeks to address persistent electricity supply challenges, expand its renewable energy footprint, and become a net exporter of clean energy within a short period of time. Omoboriowo, a leader in African power infrastructure and energy finance, brings over 2 decades of experience in utility-scale generation, project structuring, and cross-border energy development. He currently serves as chairman and CEO of Genesis Energy Group, where he has led utility-scale generation projects of more than 780 megawatts in operations, ongoing construction, and advanced development in Nigeria, South Africa, Benin Republic, Zambia, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, Mali, and United Kingdom, with a project development pipeline north of 4.5 gigawatts. All right, so this is actually quite nice. We're hoping that this will somehow, he has a project running in Nigeria, so we're looking forward to that working. So you won't have to hear the generator running like you heard earlier. But that's good. It's good to have Nigerians who are doing great things, but also even better to know that the person is Yoruba. It's quite nice. Nice. There's another lady, I'm just going to read this one before we go to other news, whose appointment also makes me glad. Dr. Lola Fayoju has been appointed chair of surgery at Queen's University. All right. On the recommendation of Dean Lisa Tannock, Matthew Evans, Provost and Vice Principal Academic, has appointed Oluwadamilola Lola Fayoju, MD, MA, MPHS, FA, CS, as Professor and Head of the Department of Surgery for a 5-year term, effectively July 15, 2026. Dr. Fayoju will also serve as Head Department of Surgery at Kingston Health Sciences Center and hold a Britton Smith Chair in Surgery during this time. That's news from the United States. Dean Tannock would like to extend her sincere gratitude and so on and so forth. Let me just go to the part that talks about what she has done in the past. A renowned breast surgical oncologist and health services researcher, Dr. Fayanju joins Queens from the University of Pennsylvania, where she is the inaugural Ellen O. Dickens Presidential Professor in the Perelman School of Medicine and founding chief of the Division of Breast Surgery for Penn Medicine. She's also surgical director of the Rena Rowan Breast Center in the Abramson Cancer Center. Program director, Program Director for Implementation Innovation at the Penn Center for Cancer Care Innovation and a Senior Fellow in the Leonard Davis Institute of Health Economics. In these roles, she has led multidisciplinary clinical programs, developed research infrastructure, and integrated equity. There's something I want to read from here that's actually quite nice. I think it's probably going to help somebody here. In this role, she has led multidisciplinary clinical programs, developed research infrastructure, and integrated equity, implementation science, and outcomes measurement into clinical practice across a major academic health system. She received an AB in History and Science and an AM in Comparative Literature from Harvard University, MD and Master of Population Health Sciences from Washington University in St. Louis, where she also completed a residency in general surgery and completed a fellowship in breast surgical oncology at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center. The reason I'm reading this part really is because somebody might be listening, maybe you're young or you're even old, doesn't matter, and you are an art student. She was an art student essentially. She had a degree in History and Science and then also in comparative literature, associate bachelor's, associate master's in comparative literature from Harvard, and then went on to become a medical doctor. So in case maybe this is a path you're going and you have a dream, you can still fulfill your dream, okay? You can move from history and science or comparative literature to medicine, okay? I think that's quite nice, and it's also very good news to know that, people are doing fantastic stuff home and abroad. So that was Dr. Lola Fayanju. We're going to move on to other things, and we'll get to class in a bit. I'm sure you probably heard about the news of the shootout in Benin, in the house of Chief Oyegun. Some have called it an assassination attempt. People have called it different things. But here's the good news. One of the people who actually spearheaded the whole thing has been caught. His name is Udeme Monday Stephen. I'm reading from Trending Explained. The DSS has arrested one Udeme Monday Stephen who took responsibility for the assassination attempt on Peter Obi in Benin and assured the public that the assassination would be successfully executed when Obi visits Port Harcourt. This is what the person wrote on X. We warned Obi against his entrance into Edo State, but he mistook our resolves to his obedience online noise. Thank his stars, he survived this one. I learned he's going to my river state, no wahala. Now my men go and do that one, and then they miss target. Speak no peace to a bastard, and wish him no long life, for he is destined to die. Please be careful what you write. Now, we don't know whether he did it or not, but that's what he wrote on Twitter. Please be careful. Okay? Careful. And a shiko. All right, a few more things and then we'll go to class. So what are we doing right now is news, in case you're asking. Something about electricity. I read something from Botswana earlier. Let's read something about Nigeria. Tinubu slashes Genco's 6 trillion naira bill to 2.8 trillion naira. President Bola Tinubu has approved the payment of 2.8 trillion naira to power generation companies as the federal government's verified liability for accumulated electricity subsidies dating back to 2010. This was as he rejected the 6 trillion naira claim submitted by the operators and insisted he will not pay a naira beyond the audited figure. Highly placed officials in the presidency and the Federal Ministry of Power with direct knowledge of the negotiations told our correspondent on Sunday, that's Punch, by the way. The approval followed months of negotiations and a tripartite audit involving the Ministry of Finance, Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC, and the generation companies themselves. It also comes days after the Nigerian Labour Congress accused the Gencos of attempting what they called a heist of the National Treasury. So they said that Nigeria owes them 6 trillion. They have cut it to 2 trillion. But here's something that's quite interesting. The official added that while the audit was ongoing, the federal government in January raised 501 billion naira through a bond issued under the Presidential Power Sector Debt Reduction Program, which recorded full subscription from pension funds, banks, and asset managers. Quote, but as a measure of good faith, the president said while they were doing the audit, the federal government is going to raise money and issue a bond to pay them. The first part of that bond that was raised was 501 billion naira in January, which has been disbursed. The president said, we are going to raise bonds to pay you. But the only thing now is that we have not agreed on the amount. But I know whatever that is, it will be more than 2 trillion. But on account, still take 501 billion naira. What that means is you said I'm owing you 1,000 naira. I said, no, I'm owing you 600 naira. But I'm saying, okay, to show that I'm willing to pay while we are still negotiating, whether it is 500 or 700 naira or 800 naira, then take 100 naira. That is the whole idea of the 501 billion naira, the source explained. Okay, so essentially, President Tinubu has given them around 1 billion naira, but he's telling them that Nigeria only owes them 2 trillion. All this Turenchi, what the average person wants is to be able to, put on, just flip the switch and get your light bulbs on. So we hope that all of these things lead to, what's the word now? Better electricity provision across Nigeria. All right, almost done now. Something from a PDP chieftain, Ogidi, who claimed that the President Tinubu has more power than Trump. I don't know how he came to that conclusion, but it's quite interesting. A chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Emmanuel Ogidi, has described President Bola Tinubu as more powerful than the United States President Donald Trump, citing the sweeping powers of Nigeria's executive office. He claimed that while certain executive proposals may struggle to pass through the United States Congress, the Nigerian president has greater influence in securing legislative approval from the National Assembly. Ogidi made the remarks while fielding questions on Trust TV, where he also expressed frustration over recent developments within the opposition party. Ogidi said, it is very sad when you see your fellow partymen, those you have shared jokes with. I remember the last time we were discussing, we wanted to have our 100th NEC meeting. I know how we used to sit with these governors. They were even pleading with us to bring back Sam Lanya, who was National Secretary. You know what? I don't want to go into PDP issue, but the point is, it's not enough that the president has so much power. I think what we're really looking forward to is that the power is used to, the advantage of the people. And I think that's what's happening, especially with state policing going on, or conversations about state policing going on at the moment. All right, before we go, just two more things. One on security, the other on religion. This is from an interview that was conducted on Channels TV with Ambassador Designate Reno Omokri. The conversation was about if Nigeria was better 10 years ago than now, or vice versa. So this is what Reno Omokri had to say. Please take a listen to the interview. It was asked a question by Sheon Okinbaloye. Take a listen, please.
When you say Nigerians, lives of Nigerians are better off now than it was before this government took over. There are those who believe in the opposition, and many Nigerians who believe that this country is worse off than it used to be before President Bola Tinubu took over. But you said that you have a counter narrative to that.
Well, you see, and you have to give me time because this is a sensitive subject. You just give me some time. You see, in 1922, Lord Frederick Lugard released a book, The Dual Mandate, and he said something about the Black African of the Nigerian variety. And he said that this is a race that is excitable, very emotional. And 104 years after he said that, I don't know if a lot has changed, because our people tend to be emotional. Our people, if we can be sentient and if we can dwell on three things, statistics, facts, and data, which cannot lie, we see that things are actually better in this country. Look, if you cast your mind back, and I'm not going to respond to Waziri Atiku Abubakar because, he's a man that I respect. So I will never disagree with him publicly. So please don't even bring that up. I will respond to someone like Dele Momodu, who said the same thing. He said that things are worse off than 10 years ago. So let's look at that time frame. Now, 10 years ago, what was happening in this country? In this country, the only geopolitical zone that was relatively peaceful 10 years ago was the Southwest. Every part of this country was destabilized. In the South, you had Niger Delta militancy had returned. This was something that was dead from 2010 after President Yar'Adua did the amnesty program, but it reared its ugly head again 10 years ago. We had Niger Delta Avengers. They were bombing critical infrastructure in the oil and gas industry. And Nigeria went from 1.9 million barrels in 2014 to less than half of that in 2016. I don't know if you remember. Now, we went from an oil revenue of 68.44 billion to an oil revenue in 2016 of 17 billion. Now, that was in the Niger Delta, in the South. All over the South, the military had to come in. We had something that was called Operation Crocodile Smile. I don't know if you remember. And then in the Southeast, you had agitation for secession. People did not even know why that was happening. It was happening because people in the Southeast felt that they were shut out of that government. There was nobody in the Southeast heading any of the 17 security or paramilitary organizations. There was secession all over in the Southeast. Then it led to the Monday sit-at-homes. And then you had 128 police stations. And if you're watching at home, you can fact-check me, that were shut down. And then you move over to the Northeast. And in the Northeast, according to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, half of Borno State was under Boko Haram, 2016. You can also Google this at home, or you can use Grok, whatever AI you like. And then you move to the Northwest. In the Northwest, between Abuja and Kaduna, the road was a death trap. It was at that time the deadliest road on earth. And then in Southern Kaduna, you had the Southern Kaduna genocide, there was a massive killing taking place that the governor of that state came to Channel Television, I don't know if you remember, Channel Television, and said he was paying these killer headsmen price. And then in Kanu, there was a situation whereby even the doorbells had to be cancelled at some point. So these are 5 geopolitical zones. In the North Central, we've seen that there were attacks. And don't forget, we had the 157 Battalion, Mitili, where Boko Haram attacked them, killed about 300 of our soldiers. The New York Times and the Washington Post, they reported that Boko Haram had surface-to-air missiles and that the Nigerian government at that time had to pay them to retrieve it. So, our people, we tend to forget where we're coming from. And then we get very emotional. I mean, we say things like, look, right now in this country, the South is at peace. There are no military campaigns there. The Southeast is at peace right now. The Monday sit-at-home is gradually phasing out. The 2 agitators, Simon Ekpa, has been convicted and is in prison as a result of the request by the Nigerian government that sent evidentiary material to Finland. The one that was doing the stuff here, he was caught in Kenya, brought home, and then by this administration he was tried and then convicted. He's in Sokoto. The region is now completely peaceful. Those police stations, well, okay, that might be hyperbole, but at least compared to what it was in 2016, the 128 police stations have been reopened. Now, if you go to the Northwest, you see that the Abuja-Kaduna road, on this station, it was played. I went on that road with journalists from various media, and we did not go with security. Nothing happened to us. Kidnappings on that road have come to a standstill. There's security there. Okay, you look at the Shia situation. The Shia situation, there is no Shia situation in Nigeria. Look at Borno State. There is no local government in Borno that is on.
There's several communities in Borno, in part of Borno South, I guess, now that that Boko Haram is still
yes, but allow me. Boko Haram was in control of local governments 10 years ago. They are no longer in control of any local governments. They do what they call hit and run attacks, which are very opportunistic, and then they use IED. They attack military stations. But don't forget, 2016, they attacked the Nigerian Defense Academy. They went there, they killed soldiers, they attacked the Nigerian Army University in Biu. They went there, they killed soldiers, they attacked the Presidential Brigade of Guard. You know what that is? That is the President's personal bodyguard. They attacked them in Buhari. I don't know if you recall. I mean, in this day and age, those things don't happen. You had 600 terrorists in motorbikes. They went to Kuje prison. They freed 879 terrorists. I actually said 849. I went back and fact-checked. It was actually 879 terrorists. This was happening in this country. You had a train, Abuja-Kaduna train. It was bombed. These things are no longer happening. Boko Haram was on the tarmac of Kaduna Airport. Kaduna Airport had to be closed. And then people were bused from Abuja to Kaduna. So if you look at the facts, 10 years ago, Nigeria was rated by the GTI as the third most terrorized nation in the world. Today, we are not even in the top 5.
Let's get some of the issues. And
Rena Mokri, the ambassador designate. If you like to speak on that, please feel free to do so when it's time to come up. So I realized I said one more thing, the religious news, but apparently there are a couple of things I missed earlier. The Federal Executive Council has approved a new gratuity package for employees in the Federal Civil Service. Under the new scheme, retiring federal civil servants in Treasury-funded ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, will receive a gratuity equivalent to 100% of the total annual emolument, 1 full year salary package. This benefit applies to officers who have served for a minimum of 10 years and complements the existing contributory pension scheme. Someone says Reno can use facts to switch situations to his favor. I mean, if people think he's lying, they will probably have to debunk him, but I don't think anybody will be able to do that because the things he's saying are actually very factual. All right. Good news. Good news. Now I have to find it. Yes, found it. You know, the other day we talked about the fact that our external reserves, Nigeria's gross external reserves, now stands at $50.45 billion. Another good news, Nigeria's gold reserves now $3.5 billion, says CBN. The Central Bank of Nigeria, this is from the cable, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says its gold reserves have increased to $3.5 billion following the delivery of responsibly sourced gold refined to London Bullion Market Association, LBMA good delivery standards. In a statement on Wednesday, the Apex Bank said the gold was sourced locally and acquired under the National Gold Purchase Program as part of efforts to diversify Nigeria's foreign reserves. The development comes amid a sustained rally that has seen gold price surge to over $5,000 per ounce. This is actually very, very, very good. Things are getting better, clearly. Now the religious bit, and then we'll call it a day on this part of the conversation. Mumbo. Oh yeah, the gold bars were presented to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu by the Minister of Solid Minerals, Dele Alake, recently, and they have now been acquired by the Central Bank for Nigeria's reserves. Quite nice. Finally, on this segment of today's session, League of Chief Imams caution Nigerians against meddling in Middle East crisis, warns against protest, allowing global events to trigger local unrest. Nigerians, especially Lagos residents, have been cautioned against any kind of protest, disaffection, or act that can jeopardize peaceful coexistence in the country due to the ongoing crisis in the Middle East. They were also warned against meddling in the ongoing war between Iran, Israel, and the United States. The League of Chief Imams made the appeal while speaking at the 2026 Ramadan Tafsir Iftar program held at the Lagos House Ikeja on Tuesday night. The position of the Chief Imams was a reaction to the protest staged in some parts of the country, particularly by members of the Southwest chapter of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria on Monday in Lagos over the killing of Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei during recent United States-Israeli strikes on Iran. Reacting to the development, the League of Chief Imams, who spoke through the National Missioner and Chief Imam of the Ansaruddin Society of Nigeria, Sheikh Abdurrahman Ahmad, called for calm and restraint, warning that Nigeria must not allow global events to trigger local unrest. I'm going to jump to the part where it was quoted. He said, "Beware of fitna. When it happens, it will not only affect those who are responsible for it, but it will also affect all of us. The crisis in the Middle East is fitna. This is a time for prayer, a time to be part of peace. This is not a time for protest and demonstration. This is not a time for insults. This is not a time for upheavals. It is a time of sober reflection. Allah has warned us to be aware of a calamity that when it happens will not just affect those who are responsible for it, and at the moment it is affecting all of us. How may it go? I told the congregation they should prepare for an increase in fuel prices." By the way, fuel prices have gone up. Yeah, it is well. It's all over the world. How may it go? I told the congregation they should prepare for an increase in fuel prices. And today, if you have refilled your vehicle's tank, you will know how much petrol is being sold per liter. Chances are it could even go further. I don't want to read the other part because I don't want to even hear it. But he's saying basically that fuel prices, could go higher. Then he says, "We are not happy that our brothers and fellow human beings have been attacked on a daily basis. But then, if we cannot be part of the solution, we should not be part of the problem. Don't join a protest that you don't know anything about. Remember that the country is still dealing with the effect of NSAS protests. Don't cause disruption. Your intention may be pure, may be good, but do you know about the next person who will hide under that and cause mayhem and cause destruction? That is why we have come to appeal to all of us that we should be part of the solution, not a part of the problem." This is good. It's good to know that some religious leaders have enough presence of mind to lead people the right way and not to succumb to this whole funny things going on social media. It wasn't just social media. I actually saw the protests. What's your business? What's happening? Anyway, that was that from the Chief Imams, or League of Chief Imams. We're going to take some reactions and then we'll go swiftly to class. It's already past 6. But we're going to have a great time today. Today is we're going to court. We are going to court. You're going to have a great time. All right, I think we have one person who wants to come up. We'll have the person speak. And then we'll go to class. Hello, Bumblebee. Good evening. Hello? Are you there?
I can hear you, Prof. Can you hear me?
No, I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much, Prof. Okay, so, yeah. So, first of all, I want to commend the work that the president is doing. And it's good because just as we have emphasized, he's one of the leaders that has a capacity to do everything and do it the right way. And we are lucky to have him. We don't know when next we'll have a leader like that again. Every issue, every pain point that we have in this country is being addressed and taken care of simultaneously. And I pray, just as we are addressing the issue of state policing, we'll be able to address the issue of restructuring the country, just like Professor Dr. Fakunda has said. So another thing I want to state is that the state policing is also a welcome development, because all the problems we are facing with insecurity today are things that could be handled by elite police units, like SWAT units and all. Those are things that are not meant to be handled by the military. The military is not trained for that. They are trained for inter-country warfare and very, very high-scale warfare. So not really all those kind of urban insurgency, suppression, and all that. So if every state is able to have police, and the people that want to hold on to their jihadists, they can hold on to their jihadists. We that are down here, we can train our police to the point that they can help us protect all our borders across the states. Now, moving to the last point I just want to make is we need to be careful, just as we've been saying, there are handwritings on the wall about the extremism that people are trying to bring to Nigeria. You know, people say that the highest population of French speakers in the world are not in France, they are in Congo. Because of the high population of Muslims we have in Nigeria, if they let the flavor of Islamism and jihadism that they have in the Middle East to come to Nigeria, we are going to be facing a bigger problem in Nigeria than they are facing over there. We need to be very, very careful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bumblebee, for that brilliant submission. I really appreciate your input. So I'm just going to read very quickly some of the comments we have across different platforms, and then we will get on with it. New Era says, if you see the fierce hate and destruction by the bandits and also Ojuko's sons, you will not want your children dealing with it again. But God Almighty has a great plan for Nigeria. Well done. Amen. Your Might says the new IGP is very sound and much more than his predecessor. I wish him the best. Wish him the best as well. New Era says the solution is to create well-defined ethnic boundaries that cannot be violated, and also an effective justice and security agency that fairly enforce public peace. Thank you. Shenisha Boale says comparative literature is Wole Soyinka's specialty. Because I was talking about the lady that did is it creative writing or comparative literature? Oh, I was wondering what was the connection, but now I get it. Thanks for your comment. Let's check Facebook very quickly. Oh, we're gonna have a great time today. I have a feeling. To Facebook, can I play Ojo now? So it's on the other video that we had earlier. It wasn't a question, it was somebody just, acknowledging what we're doing. So thank you very much for that, although I can't find it at the moment. But thank you. Folks on X, thank you very much for being here as well. Let's power tap on TikTok. Let's try and do some housekeeping before we go on with the session. If you're on TikTok, please power tap. Thank you for 34.2k likes, by the way. This is beautiful. But we've got to do more. Let's power tap. Click on the heart icon here, please, and drop a heart to me. Drop a gift. All these things help to push the life to the FYP. So let's do it together very quickly. All right, let's give gifts. I'm not talking about it a lot, but like I said, I'll be talking about it. Apart from that, it shows generosity and gratitude. I think beyond that, it also helps the live, So please, let's try and push the live together. Folks on YouTube, please like the live and also subscribe. I noticed the live just went up. Thank you to the person who just liked the live on YouTube. More of us should please do so. And on Facebook as well, so that way the algorithm can recommend the live stream to other people. If you're on X, please like and repost. Thank you, Math Tuition, for the roses. Thank you very much. God bless you. We've been reading a book by Papa Obafemi Awolowo. By the way, Papa's birthday is tomorrow. A session tomorrow, we'll see how it goes, because it's neither here nor there. We might have it, we might not have it, but because it's supposed to be something's supposed to come up. Something came up, but we'll see what would happen between now and tomorrow. But the important thing is that tomorrow is our birthday, March 6th. And it's worth celebrating. The other day, I think it was on Twitter, somebody said we should have a day when we celebrate Chief Obafemi Awolowo, and I said we already have a date though. We already have a date. I said when? I said March 6th. That's the date when it's celebrated. There's going to be a conference at Ikene tomorrow, organized by Obafemi Awolowo Foundation. Okay. So if Papa were alive physically, he would be 117 years old tomorrow. But as you know, they're alive physically, you see they're alive in spirit, and his ideology is still very much with us. So we have a responsibility to carry on the torch he has passed on to us. Speaking of torches, we're going to be reading his book, My March Through Prison, Adventures in Power, Book 1, by himself, Papa Chief Obafemi Awolowo. And we've been talking about Awo's trial. I know that most times when we have our sessions on First Republic politics, or when we talk about the war or the coup, it's really very exciting. This one, we're reading a lot of books. We're reading a particular book. So when I'm going from one book to another, it's actually also very exciting. But I wanted us to concentrate on this book, so I actually hear from the horse's mouth and learn, So the reading, we will read, okay? But it's better for us to read like that, so we know more things. So we've done a bit of sessions on this topic. We started with Awo on trial, why Obafemi Awolowo was tried for treason. So we started with why, and then we went on to Awo on trial, how it all started. And then we went to Awo on trial, the arrest, where we had two parts. So if you want to listen to any of those things, please go to the live section of Busuyori's YouTube channel. You'll find all of that there. By the way, we're growing on YouTube. It's quite nice. A lot of people are subscribing, which is beautiful. And thank you very much for your support. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Whether on YouTube, both on YouTube and on TikTok, please subscribe. Watch everything we've discussed so far. Please check out the live section on YouTube. Having said that, we're going to move to today's session, today's topic, Awo on trial, the prosecution's power play. I'm reading again his book, Adventures in Power, Book 1, My March Through Prison. If you want to get this book, you can get it on Redomi Books on Telegram. Redomi is REDOMI Books, Redomi Books on Telegram. Kindly check it out, and wherever you're in the world, the book will be delivered to you. Actually, not just can, it will. We've delivered books to people in Canada, in the UK, all across Nigeria, even in Saudi Arabia. Books have traveled to different parts. I'm not joking. So please make use of that opportunity. All right, having said that, let's go to class. So we're going to be reading to court. I was denied bail. We talked about all of that last session. So today is prosecution. Straight into the witness box to testify for the prosecution. Here he goes. Dr. Maja's evidence in chief. I know the 27th accused person. Just to be sure we're all on the same page. You remember who the 27th accused? You're joining us for the first time. Just look in the comment section. Look at the comment section. Folks will tell you who the 27th accused person is. So let me ask everybody who has been here from day one. Who is the 27th accused person? Please write in the comment section. This is also going to help us to engage. So who is the 27th accused person according to this? Not just according to this book, according to Nigerian history of that era, 1962. Who, I don't know how to call him, was, but who was the 27th accused person? Please write in the comment section. Let's make that very snappy. Miss Moson says, the day our great and courageous hero was born to us in Yoruba Nation, a great and rare gift. Yes, that's our. So, Ogbe, who is the 27th accused person? I don't want to be here alone. Yeah. Mark bleeds. Thank you. I don't know if you are correct yet. Let me see if another person says something similar. Anybody else? Is Mark bleeds correct or not? Okay. I mean, clearly you're correct. You're correct. So, Awo is the 27th accused person. So, if, in case you hear 27th accused person, they're talking about Awo. Now, let's get into it. Dr. Maja's evidence in chief. I know the 27th accused person. I came to know him since the action group was formed in 1954. I've always seen him on and off for a long time. Sometime in 1961, somebody had reported me to him and I was required to go and see him. I went to see the 27th accused. I went to see the 27th accused. He alleged that someone had reported that I had said that he was a reactionary and not interested in the lot of the common people, and that I had taken this person to see his houses in Lagos. He further said that it was alleged I'll tell that again. He further said that it was alleged that what I thought of the politicians was that they should be put in the House of Assembly and burnt. I explained to the 27th accused that my allegations had been taken literally. He accepted my explanations. He also accused me of organizing to get some of his men out of the action group. I know the president of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah. I introduced the 27th accused to the Ghana commissioner in Lagos. Shortly after this meeting, it was arranged at this meeting that the 27th accused should go and seek Dr. Nkrumah. I had arranged this meeting because the view of the 27th accused, the Ghana High Commissioner, and I share the same view on Pan-Africanism. After this meeting, the 27th accused visited Ghana, and I was with him when he met Dr. Nkrumah. After the meeting, I saw the 27th accused on the day following at Accra. He told me that the views of Dr. Nkrumah and his were identical on Pan-Africanism. He told me that the CPP was prepared to help the action group and I should go and find out the program. This latter meeting and discussion took place in Lagos. The CPP is a Convention People's Party, which is a government party in Accra. On the request of the 27th accused, I went to Ghana to find out the program which the CPP had. I was taken to a training ground for the Workers' Brigade. There was training in arms in this camp along with other training. The men who took me there then told me that the camp was not ready for the training the action group recruits were to receive. I might say that before I left, the 27th accused had asked me to seek for this type of training. He, 27th accused, said that as a result of the first federal elections, our boys at the post were maltreated by the NA, that's Nigerian Army, the police and Northern boys, and that they were taking action group money without playing any part. It was then suggested that before the next elections, the organizers would be toughened by the training in Ghana. There was an expert I found in the CPP camp in Ghana who dealt with toughening up of people by jiu-jitsu, training in arms and explosives. The 27th accused asked me to ask for the sort of equipment I found in the training camp for the use of the action group recruits. I was to ask for this help from Dr. Nkrumah. I went to Ghana as instructed by the 27th accused. I asked for the equipment. Dr. Nkrumah told me that since the action group boys had had no training, then no useful purpose would be served by them. Dr. Nkrumah called Mr. Barden to deal with my requirements. I came back to Lagos to report my findings to Chief Awolowo. This was towards the end of last year. I do not know whether any training took place. I had cause to go back to Ghana on this matter. This was on 29th May 1962. I was asked by Chief Awolowo to go back for more equipment. I went to Ghana accordingly. That was the date the 27th accused was put under restriction. On the day of this restriction, the 27th accused sent for me and I went there. He said that this was the sort of thing that happened to Yoruba people and that his restriction was the beginning of a chain of events. He asked me what I thought would have happened if any of the leaders of the ethnic groups had been restricted. I replied that if the leader of the Igbos had been restricted, there would have been trouble. He told me that he wanted me to transfer some money to SG Ikoku. He said he would give me some extra money. I believe that Ikoku was out of Nigeria. He said he will send me some money to see whether I could bring some equipment from Ghana. He gave me £2,000 for SG Cocoa. The money was given to me in cash. On receipt of this money, I left for Ghana. The money was brought to me in my office. The 16th accused brought the money to me. I then left for Ghana. I was to bring some arms and ammunition from Ghana. I was told to give Ikoko some money. I made arrangements for a fishing boat to convey the arms to Nigeria. I did not succeed in getting the fishing boat. I did not make any other arrangements. I saw Ikoko in Ghana. I handed over 1 million. Say that again. I handed over £1,100 to Ikoko as requested. I told Ikoko that I intended to bring the arms into Lagos by inserting them inside a fishing boat and bringing them to Lagos. What I had in mind then was that since fishes are loaded in boxes, the arms were to be put underneath and above the fish in the boxes. He told me the quantity of arms required could not be handled in that way. By the way, I should pause. If you were here from the first part, you notice what SG Koku's role was in the entire thing. And you also understand the fact, the reason why different parties in Nigeria were sending folks to train, right? We talked about NAPO, for instance, Cameroon, and with folks in Cameroon and NAPO in the northern region, send folks to Eastern Europe to train, just like Action Group was sending people to Ghana. And the fact was that a lot of folks in the north, particularly, you know what, in every region, north, east, midwest, everywhere, folks had thugs, and some of them were equipped with weapons to fight. As a matter of fact, Nigerian army also became an extension of the northern establishment to ensure that their desires or whatever plans they had, you know, was executed. And so the idea was that every region had people training to guard their boxes, to ensure that they were not cheated out of things, and to ensure that what happened in the first election when the Northern dealt with, you know, Action Group members, for instance, and the boys will not happen again. So I'm trying to make that very clear. If you notice, you've not heard anything about coups or whatever treasonable thing they came up with later. You've not heard anything about that so far. And also Ikoku was one of the radicals who joined Action Group, you know, and was one of those who also told Awo to leave Nigeria and, you know, run away, of course, because, but Awo didn't. Let's continue. So who is speaking here? The person talking right now is Dr. Maja. What I had in mind then was that since fishes are loaded in boxes, the arms were to be put underneath and above the fish in the boxes. He told me that the quantity of arms required could not be handled in that way. I did not see the arms. I then left Ghana and returned to Lagos. I know the 13th accused. I saw the 13th accused during this transaction. I saw him on my return from Ghana. I told 13th accused that I had intended to bring in the arms by boat and that I had not succeeded. Or I did not succeed. I told him that Ikoku had told me that a lorry load of arms was required and that I did not see why such a quantity of Okay. He says, I told him that the Ikoku had told me that a lorry load of arms was required and that I did not see why such a large quantity of arms was required. I told 13th accused that if all that was required was to cause commotion all over the place, we could buy gelignite. I think that's what it means, from Abeokuta and explode them all over the place. Jakonde, 13th accused, agreed with the suggestion of purchasing gelignite from Abeokuta. It is an explosive used in breaking stones in Abeokuta. I had a friend in Abeokuta who was in the business of breaking stones. His name is Onikwede. I asked Onikwede to buy me some gelignite for about £600 to £700. The money I gave to Onikwede was from the £2,000 I received from the 27th accused. I had to speak to the 13th accused because he introduced himself as coming from Chief Awolowo. After this transaction, I did not see the 13th accused anymore, as he was under restriction. I know the ninth accused. I received a telephone message purported to have come from the ninth accused, and he, ninth accused, came to see me. I told ninth accused that I had sent to buy the explosives from Belkuta. I asked for the address of ninth accused and said that I would get in touch with him. I later went to see him, and whilst talking to him, other people came there. I told him that the explosive would be sufficient to cause a stir. Mrs. Awolowo and her children came in then. I then returned home. The general impression I had was that Yoruba leaders were being treated anyhow, and there was no sign of protest or reaction. I had in mind that certain places should be blown up by the explosive, as they did in Ghana. Later, when Adebanjo came to see me in my house, the first time he came to me, I had visitors and could not see him. The second occasion he came, I asked him to go away. Before I saw Adebanjo the second time, I had been to the 27th accused at Ikoyi. He, 27th accused, asked me about the arms. I told him that I had not brought any. I told him that I had got some explosives which I had purchased. The 27th accused got annoyed. He told me that that was what I was told to do with the money. He said that it was common knowledge that Gaelic could be bought at Belkuta. He said that the arms were required for a show of strength. He said that the Prime Minister, Minister of Defense, Inspector General of Police, officer commanding the army were to be restricted to their homes. He said that there was not going to be any bloodshed. He said the armories of the police and the army would be rendered useless by being blown up. I told He told me that he had been under restriction for a long time and that he was sent to Tony Enauro that I should go to see him. I later saw Enauro. He was leaving for Europe that night. He said I should not worry and that I did not know much about it and that everything would be all right. He said there were many aspects to the thing that I knew, e.g. political side. He said that he would be back in about 2 weeks and that I should ring him when he returned. I later saw Enauro again in Accra on 24th August. He said he was traveling in the same plane with one of the army officers, one Major Ademulegu. I later saw the 27th accused again. I think it was sometime in September. He asked me again whether I had brought in the arms into Lagos, and I said no. I left. Cross-examination of Dr. Maja by Chief Davis. I know a man called Docotry. I'll take that again. I know a man called Docotry. I spoke to him about the Express Youth Club. He agreed when he was here that he would form a branch. He did not do so, however. He wrote a letter to me, which I have torn. In the letter, Dr. Tree, said that he believed in the ballot box. What he said was that he was not prepared to leave the action group and organize this youth club. He said that through the ballot box, they would get the government of the country and introduce the sort of government they liked. I did not suggest any other means of achieving the same, and except through the ballot box. I know about the Workers' Brigade in Ghana. I was in sympathy with the Workers' Brigade because it was a safeguard against unemployment. I was trying to build up the same type of thing in Nigeria. I had not the support of the Ghanaian government in my efforts, but I have the support of Dr. Nkrumah in the Express Youth Club. I did have the financial support from Dr. Nkrumah. I got £7,000 from the organization. After Docotry left, Ibrahim Imam and Taka 27 that they had an organization already, and that it was to infuse this idea that I gave this money. I spent part of the money in building my organization. I'll say that again. I spent part of the money in building up my organization. The Express Youth Club is still functioning. I used to have some private business in Ghana. I visit Ghana at an average of once a month. These visits started as far back as 1957. When I visited Ghana, I went on my own business. I am sorry that my visit to Ghana was on 30th May and not on 29th May, as I said in evidence in chief. I returned to Nigeria the following day. I had business of my own to do in Ghana, apart from seeing Ikoku. I had to petition the administrator and the Prime Minister because of my anxiety to get back to the surgery. The petition was typed, but I was not there. When I was arrested, I was told I was in the plot. I said no, because I was not a member of the action group. I told the police all I knew about the plot. I told Mr. Lin that I had operated on some patients on that day and was anxious to get away. He then told me the only way I would get out was to say all that I knew and petition the Prime Minister and the administrator. I wrote out the petition and I asked Mr. Lin to type it out for me. He told me that if I could satisfy the administration and Prime Minister that I was not involved in the plot, then I could go. When I was detained and taken to the police station, Mr. Lin told me that I was involved in a plot. When I was detained and taken to the police station, Mr. Lin told me that I was involved in a plot arranged by 27th accused and some action group leaders. Once I was told Mr. Lin, I'll say that again. Will I say I need light to be brighter? Once I was told by Mr. Lin that he did not believe that I was not the person who brought the arms into the country and that the quantity of arms recovered was not all that had been imported to this country, I made inquiries from 8th and 13th accused persons and reported back to Mr. Lin. The 2nd, 6th, 7th, 4th, 3rd, 10th, 26th, 12th, 24th, and 8th accused were those who complained to me about Mr. Coleman. Or is this Sealman or something? It's not very clear. I was told he had a gun, flick knife, and that he used to threaten to kill except one would speak. I was told by the 26 accused that Mr. Sealman had pulled his penis and testicles and he found it difficult to go to the toilet. 26 accused also told me that he was handcuffed and taken about. When he complained to me, I asked him to see the doctor about his complaints and he received treatment. The idea was that I asked the 22nd accused to spend the money through the United Middle Belt Congress. It was agreed that if he could break from the action group, I was to finance the Congress. He, 22nd accused, even made an announcement that the Congress was to break away. My belief was that the action group was dominated by some reactionaries like Chief Awolowo, 27th accused. I gave 22nd accused up because they refused to give up the reactionary action group. The 27th accused and the other action group leaders told me that during election periods in the north, their supporters were beaten up. The whole idea of the Builders Brigade was to make them tough to withstand political opponents. Let me just pause here to quickly explain something. When group had, action group had some pushbacks in the western region, but this was the turf, so it wasn't as bad. It was bad in the east, right, where our action group folks were stoned and some beaten, but it was actually worse in the north, where people were beaten mercilessly, some beaten to pulp as though they were going to die. Okay, so think about it. For instance, you're going to the north to have elections. Again, if you're studying this particular period of Nigeria's history, you can't be doing all this what's right or wrong. You have to understand the context. Okay, you're going to the north, you want to campaign. You have some people there. You have the Antauri in the north. Then you also have the other guys they call Sons of Madmen, and they were there to set everybody right, right based on the definition of the northern establishment. And so you want to also toughen your own guys up. When people have these conversations, they don't understand the context. So they say things like, why was AWO doing that? Or why was the action group doing that? Because that was what you did at the time if you wanted to leave. And if you were not here when we read what happened, please check out how it all began. But you can read this book, Adventures in Power, Book 2, The Traverse of Democracy and the Rule of Law, to understand the things that went down in the northern part of Nigeria, how people were shot, how people were beaten, how cars were essentially axed or macheted because they're going to kill the person, but they end up destroying their cars. So that's how the place was structured. If you're going to move in that place, you can't just go there and be, telling the people, what's the word now? What do they call it? Motivational speeches. You have to be prepared. So I guess that's what Maja was talking about here when talked about the Builders Brigade. Thank you very much, Airways, for the heart me. Let's keep our tapping on TikTok.
Hope you guys
don't worry. Maybe I'm going to switch books, okay? Because there are many details that you may not need if you're not reading directly, to be honest. I just feel we should read it because I think that way you also say we read together, okay? But if it gets too much, I'll just switch to other books. There are other books like The Political Philosophy of Obafemi Awolowo by Olayiwola Beguri and Awolowo, the Political Moses by Ojugua. But that'll be later. Let's continue with this one. Now, Akinto is the one cross-examining Dr. Maja, and this is what Maja says. The 13th accused person discussed about explosives with me. He informed me that he was sent by 27th accused. Wait to. Earlier, he said that the 13th accused, as Jack Conde, met with him, and that it was the one who talked, and they talked about explosives. And that later on, he went to meet Awo, and Awo was angry about the fact that they're going to get explosives. So that means that it was not the. Anyway, let's just continue. The 13th accused person discussed about explosives with me. He informed me that he was sent by 27th accused. That was the first day I met him. I had never met 13th accused before mid-1962. I never at any time enlisted his aid for the Modu faction. I never discussed any trade union matters with 13th accused at all. I never arranged any meeting between 13th accused and Tetega. I did not arrange any meetings at Federal Palace Hotel. It is now that I know that Jakonde's pen name is John West. I discussed with John West about terms of the TUC. I told John West that I supported the Modu faction. Tetega was there. Men came in. This was before May 1962. This discussion took place at Federal Palace Hotel. Tetega was lodging at Federal Palace Hotel, and discussion took place in his room. All right, now we're going to the part where Awo himself cross-examined Maja. So he says by 27th accused. I was told of such a plot, but I was not actively involved in any plot to overthrow the government. Mr. Lin told me that you had planned to overthrow the government. It was in consequence of a report that was made to you about me last year that you sent for me. It was Alhaji Eso Gbadamosi who brought me to you. You remember Eso Gbadamosi? That was SLA student, and he was one of two people who convinced Awo to make SLA the premier in 1959. Let's keep reading. It was Alhaji Eso Gbadamosi who brought me to you. I told Dokotri that all political leaders were reactionaries, corrupt, and conservative. You told me that Dokotri said that I had no faith in the ballot box. I cannot remember that you told me that Dokotri told you that I asked him to recruit boys for training either in Ghana or Guinea. On that occasion, you did not invite me. Alhaji Gbadamosi came to my office and said annoyed with me that I was trying to lure away some of you had reported me at a meeting which my father and he, Alhaji Gbadamosi, were present. You asked me that if people were to be blown up, why should you be included? When Dokotri was here, I showed him some houses at Apapa, Ikorodu Road, and Ikoyi belonging to you. I also showed him some estates which I said belonged to other action group leaders. I never told him that these are the houses of capitalists who preach democratic socialism. I showed him all the houses and said that previously the politicians were not rich, but today they have all estates. They have estates all about. Dokotri did not write me a letter about the report he made to you. I never persisted in running after the leaders of the UNBC. It was Taka and Ibrahim Imam who came to meet me in my office. In the case of Dokotri, I sent for him. I told them I was interested in Pan-Africanism and organizing youth. I am not a member of any political party. I arranged for you to have a meeting with Dr. Nkrumah. When Alhaji Gbadamosi took me to you this year, you told me that you had met Dr. Nkrumah and both of you had worked together in the political field in 1945 and 1946. In other words, it was not Maja that introduced Awo to Nkrumah. By the way, all the things that he was saying, I think it's also something that you hear a lot of young people say today. The idea that they're always shouting capitalism, all those. It's easy to make people like this obedient. The truth of the matter is that a person doesn't have to become poor because they're involved in politics. The question should be that, are they rich because of politics? So if you have a practice and now at a private practice, right, and you're representing a lot of people and you're making a lot of money, should you live in penury because you're not in politics? Makes no sense. So you can't judge a person by what he has if you're not asking him how he got the money. You can't just say, oh, because he's a politician, how come he has a house in Ikoyi and another one in Ikorodu Road and so on and so forth. The question is, how did he get the money? And if he got the money by through his work, he can't throw everything away just to prove to you that he's a socialist. Makes no sense to me, but let's continue. When Alhaji Badamasi took me to you this year, you told me that you had met Dr. Nkrumah and that both of you had worked together in the political field in 1945 and 1946. Shortly after the inception of Ghana Embassy, I had connection with it, but I would not say a strong one. Up to March 1961, all the successive Ghana High Commissioners held the view that the Action Group had critical view of happenings in Ghana. During 1959 and for a short time after the visit of Dr. Nkrumah to Nigeria, your views became less critical of Ghanaian affairs. It was at the meeting at which Alhaji Badamasi was present that you told me that Dr. Nkrumah stayed with you during his visit. That was in Ibadan. Okay, and that was long before Maja came along. When Nkrumah came to Nigeria, he spent some time and even slept over at Papa's house in Ibadan. I gave about £600 to £700 to Mr. Onikpede to buy Gelignite. Onikpede is a very close friend of mine and a partner in business with me. I have been in business with Onikpede since June this year. I gave him £600 to £700 to buy explosives for you. You had sent Jakonde to me. Here I arranged for it. I did not tell Onikpede the use for which the explosives were. I never told Onikpede that that £600 to £700 was for the business of prefabricated building. I did not want to take Onikpede into confidence as to my secret motive for wanting to buy explosives. When we were in Broad Street prisons, twice you tried to get us to tell the court that the statements we made to police were obtained by force. You then told us to write out incidents whether we were bribed or not. I know the fourth accused. I remember the night he returned from police and fainted. I treated him. It was suggested by the prison authorities that I should sleep with the fourth accused the same night, and I did. They did not tell me the circumstances under which they made their statements because they spoke to me differently. The second accused told me when he made his own statement. He said that he had made one of the statements in the house of Dr. Majakodumi. Who was Majakodumi? That was the administrator of the Western region appointed by Tafawa Balewa. So the person that was caught was making a statement in the house of Majakodumi. How did he get there? Sorry for another day. He said that he had made one of the statements in the house of Dr. Majakodumi. He told me the circumstances under which he made the statement. He said he had been taken there and asked to tell all he knew and that they would release him. Then they included the police and Dr. Majakodumi. Seventh accused said that he did not make a statement and that a lawyer friend of his had taken him to Dr. Majakodumi's house and asked him to give evidence against the accused persons. Fourth accused fainted before you were brought to the Broad Street prison. Second accused spoke to me before you arrived at the Broad Street prison. Seventh accused also told me the same thing before you arrived at the Broad Street prison. The 26th accused person told me of his maltreatment by the police before you arrived at the Broad Street prison. Sonia Dojo Onobamiro's evidence in chief. So we're done with Maja. We're going to, by the way, this is the prosecution. There is the defense much later. So this is Sonia Dojo Onobamiro's evidence in chief. I live at Ibadan. I'm a lecturer at University of Ife. I know the Action Group of Nigeria. I was a member. I was a Minister of Education in the suspended government of Western Nigeria. I remember September 1960. I attended a meeting of the Executive Committee of the Action Group at the Ikeja VIP Rest House. I know the 27th accused. He is the leader and president of the Action Group of Nigeria. The 27th accused presided over the meeting. Chief Awolowo announced his intention of setting up two committees, viz. Ideological Committee and the other, the Tactical Committee. He nominated people to serve on the Ideological Committee at that meeting. They were Ayo Kushaga, Sami Koku, Agumbi Adebamishe, and one lawyer from the Calabar Ogoja River State, and myself. The 27th accused told us that he would not announce the names of the members of the tactical committee. He said he would choose them himself and they might not be aware of each other's identity. We, members of the ideological committee, met and submitted our report in about 2 or 3 days. About a month or two later, and I think it was in November 1960, the 27th accused summoned me to his house at Okeado, Ibadan. I went there. He informed me that he had selected me to serve on the tactical committee. We were the only two persons. I was surprised as to why I was selected. I asked why I qualified for selection as I had not been 2 years already in the action group. He said some flattering things about me and said he wanted to use my ability. He told me that I and the other members of the tactical committee would meet at a later date. By the way, I would not be reading this if it wasn't written by Awo himself. So what I like about him is that what he said against him, he will say publish it, then he will tell you what he also said. Okay, so that you understand both sides. Okay. So in case you are here and you're wondering, I just felt it. Why are we reading all these things? Since it's against Papa, it's because Papa himself wrote it down. So I think it's a smart way to do things. It's the wise way to do things. So it doesn't look like you're just pushing your own agenda. Back to the book. All right. So he says, excuse me. So why I was selected? We're speaking here on Obamiro. I was surprised as to why I was selected. I asked why I qualified for selection, as I had not been 2 years already in the action group. He said some flattering things about me and said he wanted to use my ability. He told me that I and the other members of the tactical committee would meet at a later date. That was the end of that interview that day. Shortly afterwards, I went overseas in connection with the University of Ife. I returned at the end of December 1960. About February or March 1961, the 27th accused summoned me to a meeting of the tactical committee in his. I went to the meeting. I found out there that there were 4 of us in the meeting. 27th accused was in the chair, and the others were myself, Sami Koku, and Tony Enaoro. 27th accused told us the purpose of meeting up the tactical committee. He told us that he, 27th accused, now believed that the action group could not come to power in the Senate through the ballot box. That is, they could no longer win the federal election through the ballot box. He said he had come to that conclusion, judging by what happened to the action group in the northern region during the federal elections. He said that he had come to the conclusion that we have to devise another means of capturing power. That is, that the action group should control the federal government. He said, therefore, that he had decided to give members of the tactical committee special assignments to achieve that purpose. He proceeded to give us our assignment. Sami Koku was to study the dispositions of military installations in Nigeria and possible methods of gaining access to them. The 27th accused stated that on the D-Day, our men were to go and were meant to. This doesn't even make sense. But you know, let's just keep reading. The accused stated that on the D-Day, our men were to go to these places and capture them. Tony Enaoro was given the assignment of selecting 200 boys for military training abroad. Ghana was mentioned as well as other places. My assignment was to contact Ghana. I'll tell that again. My assignment was to contact 2 important officers in the Nigerian police force to get them to see the Nigerian police. I apologize. My assignment was to contact 2 important police. The lettering is very tiny, so I'm straining. We shall. My assignment was to contact 2 important officers in the Nigerian police force to get them to see that the Nigerian police give sympathy to the revolution. The revolution was the one the tactical committee was planning to execute on behalf of the action group. We then dispersed. Several times during the intervening period, 27th accused asked me whether I had performed my assignment. I gave 27th accused, excuse me. All right, where were we? Sorry about that. Okay. So it says here, several times during the intervening period, 27th accused asked me whether I had performed my assignment. I gave 27th accused 2 books to read on the subject of revolution, viz. The Cyprus Guerrilla and Grievous. Both books are on Grievous and in connection with the guerrilla warfare in Cyprus. In about October or November 1961, I was present in another meeting of the Tactical Committee. It was held in the premises of 27th accused at Ẹkáàbọ, Ibadan. I attended the meeting. I just blundered into the meeting because I was not expected to attend. I had just returned from Europe, and he, 27th accused, had also just returned from Europe, though at different times. I took my wife to go and pay a social call to 27th accused and his wife at Ẹkáàbọ. As soon as we got there, Mrs. Awolowo said that I was late for the meeting as they had already started. I then left my wife to sit with Mrs. Awolowo and went inside to see members of the Tactical Committee, where we generally hold our meetings. I met 27th accused, Sam Ikoku and Enaoro. I expressed surprise that they were meeting without one of the members. I was offered a seat. The 27th accused said that he had a suspicion about me as I was getting lukewarm about my assignment, not having reported on my assignment. I noticed that 27th accused, Sam Ikoku and Enaoro, exchanged looks at my coming in. After I had taken my seat, the 27th accused asked whether Enaoro had completed his assignment, and he answered in the affirmative. He also asked Sam Ikoku whether he has made any progress in his assignment, and he answered in the affirmative. He then asked me about my assignment, and I replied that I had not performed my assignment and would like to make a full explanation to the Tactical Committee. I then proceeded to explain that 27th accused was making a serious mistake in using the words coup d'etat, which he employed in our deliberations. I explained that the coup d'etat was a revolution of the army against the state and was usually over in a few hours. He used to use the terms he wanted the coup d'etat to be over in 24 hours and that he wanted a bloodless revolution. I told him that was not possible. I gave 3 examples why it was not possible, viz. Nasser in Egypt, General Aboud in Sudan, and General Qasim in Iraq. These were classical examples of coups. These were classical examples of coup d'etat in modern times that have succeeded. I told him that what he wanted us to plan was a guerrilla warfare and that I gave 3 examples: Fidel Castro in Cuba, Grievous in Cyprus, and the Jews in Palestine. I told him that the difference between the coup d'etat and guerrilla warfare is that the latter will go on for years. Apart from that, there is no possibility of it being bloodless. I then told the meeting that for the guerrilla warfare to be successful, 4 factors must be present. A. Guerrilla warriors must have their hideouts to which they would retreat. B. The leader of the revolution must have fanatical and devoted followership. I gave examples that in Egypt and Cuba, those who were captured were hanged by their captors but never gave away their secrets because they were captivated with an ideal. It's quite interesting you would say that. I told the 27th accused that no young person would agree to be hanged in order to make 27th accused prime minister. C. I said that the guerrilla warfare is waged with an existing government with which the population are dissatisfied. I emphasized that factor because it's essential to have the cooperation of the population. I told him that whatever we might think in the action group, the federal government is popular amongst the masses and they are contented. D. I told him that in all cases of guerrilla warfare, they did not depend on foreign arms. When I finished, 27th accused asked me for my authorities for all these facts. I then asked him, 27th accused, for permission to go to my residence, which was 5 minutes ride, to bring a book as my authority. He, 27th accused, gave permission and I went out. I used the opportunity to take my wife home, and on my return, brought the book for the Tactical Committee. The title of the book is 12 Portraits of Power. This is the book. No objection. Admitted and Exhibit 15. I then opened page 62 of Exhibit 15. I read the portion to the 27th accused and the 3 others. I told 27th accused and the 2 others that the facts necessary for the success of guerrilla warfare in Nigeria are absent. 27th accused asked for comments from the others. Sami Koko commented and said that I had read the comments upside down and that it was my presumption that I, a non-communist, should make a statement. And that it was presumptuous that I, a non-communist, should make a statement. Mr. Adesanya objects because what the witness is saying is not in proof of evidence and says that the connotation of communism is so important. Mr. Adebiyi replies and says that the evidence is relevant. Ruling, I uphold the objection of Mr. Adesanya. The 27th accused then said that he felt that I had felt lukewarm about the tactical committee, and I said so. I then left after leaving Exhibit 15 behind with 27th accused. So now we go to the cross-examination of Dr. Nobamiro by 27th accused. The minutes of the previous meetings are generally not read. Witness referred to page 63, showing that minutes of previous meetings were confirmed on the 14th September. I was present at the meeting. When you spoke, Rosiji spoke and Akintola spoke. I followed and understood what was said. At the time of the discussions, my understanding of the setting up of the tactical committee was to offer my eventuality that might lead to the dissolution of the Western House of Assembly. There were about 50 or more persons present. Members did not take part during the process of setting up the committee. I do not know what the tactical committee was set up for. I am not telling a lie. Witness attention was drawn to page 69. What you said about the names of members not being mentioned is not recorded. I am a member of the UPP. I joined the party in July 1962. I bought the Grievous books in July 1961. I returned from the UK, United Kingdom, in September 1961. The proof of evidence now shown to me is in my language. I had a telephone message from the police in Lagos that I had known of the tactical committee of the action group and asked whether I wished to offer any information. I said that I would like to write out my own statement. That was in September 1962. I did not volunteer a statement to him. He asked for it. I made 2 statements to the police, one on 25/9/1962 and the other on 29/10/1962. I personally came to Lagos to deliver the 2 statements after writing them out in Ibadan. Chief Akintola is the head of the party to which I now belong. By the way, notice what's happening here. He said that he is a member of UPP. That party is actually Akintola's party. But let's not run ahead of ourselves. Chief Akintola is the head of the party to which I now belong. The UPP and the Action Group are bitterly opposed to each other. I have since corrected what I said in my statement of 25/9/1962. It was corrected in the second statement. I later checked up and found that it took place in September. I corrected that statement after I discussed with some of my friends in Ibadan. I cannot know the particular person, but I cannot remember the name of the particular individual. I am not sure because I discussed with several people in Ibadan. I was present at a reconciliation meeting held on 9th February at VIP Residency in Ibadan. Igudaro was then asked to speak. I felt very much offended. Those who were present were parliamentary secretaries and several obas. There were other leaders present as well. I would say that we were about 50 or 60 in all. I think Chief Akintola spoke first and you spoke next. I do not remember you accusing him that he wanted to overthrow your leadership. He said that you would want the meeting to select a small group. You said that you would want the meeting to select a small group to meet on a matter relating to an attempt about it in the presence of the whole of us. Conclave. I am not a blatant liar. I do not know whether any particular minister was present. So let me quickly explain what happened in this thing. Actually, it was at that meeting that Awo first said that Akintola was accusing him of organizing a coup. Right? This was early 1962, after the Just crisis. So according to that other material, it was there that Awo actually talked about the fact that Akintola was, number one, trying to undermine his leadership in the action group. Number two, accusing him of organizing a coup. And that's why I said when we started those series that the first time in my research that somebody accused Awolowo of planning the coup was actually end of 61, early 62, and it was Akintola on both occasions. All right. And on Obama that's been speaking since was on Akintola's side. Okay, so you can put two and two together. Whatever you conclude is fine. Let's keep going. You said that you would want the meeting to select a small group to meet on a matter relating to an attempted coup d'etat because you would not like to say about it in the presence of the whole of us. The elders agreed to summon such a small conclave. I am not a blatant liar. I do not know whether any particular minister was present. What you have read to me would be Chief Oshintokun's recollection of the incident. If Ogundiran said the same thing, that might be his recollection as well. You had lost confidence in the ballots. I'll do that again. You had lost confidence in the ballot box as far back as February or March 1961. There was a general election in May 1961 in the northern region. All the leaders of the party led the campaign. You gave us our different assignments for the campaign meetings. After the elections, I reported my experience to you. I do not remember that SG, Koko, and Enauro took part in the campaign. It cost me about £50 because leaders were asked to make personal sacrifice. We were requested to go, and I went. I was a co-opted member of the executive committee of the action group before I was appointed a minister. I was not an elected member of the regional executive until I became a minister. I was critical of the educational policy of the action group. Makes sense now. Why did I say that? Because one of the major things that they were trying to do, especially through the Coca inquiry, was to discredit the work on, the educational policy of Chief Awolowo while he was premier. So he says, I was critical of the educational policy of the action group. One of the problems in September 1960 Congress was a question about the dissolution of the Western government. 1 second, please. Sorry about that. Let's go on. So he says one of the problems in the September 1960 Congress was a question about the dissolution of the Western government. Another problem was to prevent the extension of Lagos boundary by the federal government. I did not hear it discussed the spread of feudal government of the north to the south. The goal of the consolidation of the action group in the Western region was discussed in September 1960, and as well as other congresses. It was also the aim of the action group to broaden its base and extend to the other regions. One of the problems discussed was to mobilize world and public opinion in favor of democratic socialism in Nigeria. I do not remember that it was discussed as a problem to liberate the masses in the north from the feudal system. The meeting I held with you, again, person speaking is Adabamiro. Who is it talking about? You. He's talking about the 27th accused person, that's Chief Awolowo. The meeting I held with you was alone with you in November. On 24th November 1960, I held a meeting with you. Bio Baku was there. There were many meetings in November 1960 before I left for overseas about the selection of members of my team. Excuse me. All right, let's go on. Apologize for the break. So he says there were many meetings in November 1960 before I left for overseas about the selection of members of my team.
I'm
a bit distracted, but I'm good now. There were many meetings in November 1960 before I left for overseas, but the selection of members of my team. About the selection of members of my team, there were about 2 or 3 meetings. I did not think Ikoku attended any of the meetings. The 2 Grievous books were given in June 1961. So we read 2 witnesses. Let me see how many more we are going to read before we go. On board. Oshipobo, let's just enjoy. until we have to close. Okay? Please, if you're on TikTok, don't stop our tapping. So, wherever we stop today, we don't have to read all the witnesses, all the what's it called now? All they have to say. So next time we'll just focus on defense. So Alhaji Ibrahim Imam's evidence in chief. I live in Kaduna. I am a trader and a politician. I am one of the leaders of the Borno Youth Movement because I am not the president. I am also the leader of the opposition in the Northern House of Assembly. I know one Dr. Ladipo Maja, first prosecution witness as well as 22nd accused person. There's a transaction between 22nd accused, first prosecution witness, and I. Sometime in early 1961, 22nd accused came to me in Kaduna. He told me that the first prosecution witness had spoken to himself as to how to finance the United Middle Belt Congress. At that time, the UNBC was an ally of the Action Group of Nigeria. My party was also in alliance with the Action Group of Nigeria. 22nd accused told me that Dr. Maja said that he could supply arms to the UNBC in the north so that the party could cause trouble in the north, so that certain elements could take over the government in the south. Both of us discussed the matter and agreed to accept Dr. Maja's money, but not the arms. Sometime later, 22nd accused and I came to Lagos and saw first prosecution witness. Who is first prosecution witness? That's Dr. Maja. I know the 27th accused person. After seeing Dr. Maja, I later saw 27th accused person. That was in Ibadan. He asked me about my association with Dr. Maja. I told him that Dr. Maja was trying to finance the UNBC and supplying the party with arms so that they could cause trouble in the north during the elections. 27th accused warned me seriously not to have anything to do with first prosecution witness. So, Maja said it was Awolowo that told him to buy guns and everything. Maja calls Ibrahim Imam, tells him and the UNBC that he will supply them with arms and ammunition and with money. Ibrahim Imam travels to Ibadan, meets with Awolowo, and the Awo, who was supposed to have given Maja money to go and buy guns, is the one who is telling Ibrahim Imam to be very careful of the same Maja. Quite interesting. Let's go on. It says, I know the 27th accused person. After seeing Dr. Maja, I later saw 27th accused person. That was in Ibadan. He asked me about my association with Dr. Maja. I told him that Dr. Maja was trying to finance the UNBC and supplying the party with arms so that they could cause trouble in the north during the elections. 27th accused warned me seriously not to have anything to do with first prosecution witness. About a week or 10 days later, I came to attend a routine party member. Hey, Imbo. About a week or 10 days later, I came to attend a routine party meeting in the house of 27th accused. After the meeting, the 27th accused asked some of us to remain behind. He asked 22nd accused Dokotri, Jonah Asadugu, and myself to wait behind. We then started to discuss about the 1961 Northern Regional elections and questions about creation of new states. It was a general discussion, and we all, including the 27th accused and 22nd accused persons, discredited the ballot box. 27th accused said that if we were ready, he does not mind going to a place like the Tiv Division, provided it is mountainous enough to give him a cover to fight the government. He also said that there were some arms in the country, but that it was not specific as to who owned the arms. He then asked us to think about his plan of going to Tiv Division to fight the government so that he might give us some assignments. We all left, that is Asadugu, 22nd accused, and myself. When we got out, I told the 22nd accused that I was not prepared to do anything in this respect and that he should tell 27th accused to count me out of it. Before we left the 27th accused, he told us that there was a new invention that, if thrown on the table, the occupant would be rendered unconscious so that all the files before such a person could be removed before such a person regained consciousness. I later saw the 27th accused, after he had been restricted to Ikene about June this year. It was about 2 or 3 days after he had been restricted. He asked me about the 22nd accused, and I told him I did not know of his whereabouts at that time. 8th accused, 22nd accused, and I had been to see 27th accused at Ikene a day or two before he was restricted, but he had no time to see us. On the following day, 8th accused and I went to see 27th accused person. The 27th accused person saw me alone. 8th accused was not present. We saw him at different times. He told me that whenever 22nd accused was around, he would pass some arms to him to take to Thief Division. I did not say anything. I came to Lagos and went back to the north. After about 7 or 8 days, I went to see the 27th accused at Ikene. Whilst I was waiting, 22nd accused came and found me there. I asked 22nd accused where he had been to all this time. He asked me to come out to the lawn. He told me that he had been to Ghana to attend the Freedom Fighters Conference. I told him what 27th accused told me, and I warned him not to accept it. Later the same evening, we saw 27th accused. It was 22nd accused and I. Please on TikTok, please power tap. This thing is showing restriction. Okay, it's better now, but please don't stop power tapping. Thank you. Where were we? Okay, so he says later the same evening, we saw the 27th accused. It was 22nd accused and I. We had some discussions with 27th accused on party matters. I returned from there to the north, and 22nd accused went to Lagos. On August 1962, I saw 22nd accused again. It was on 22/8/1962 when I returned from Senegal. I put up with him at 2 Lawrence Road, Ikoyi, Lagos. He then told me that Chief Enaro wanted to see me. I went to see Chief Enaro in a room above. What's that again? I went to Chief Enaro to see him in a room above that of 22nd accused. During my discussion with Chief Enaro, the 22nd accused came in. 22nd accused was just listening to what Enaro was saying. He never said a word. I cannot remember what Enaro said. After the discussion, 22nd accused and I went down to Taka's room. I told Taka that I was not prepared to follow what Enaro had told me and that he should inform him. How can you not remember what he said, but you're not good? Okay. I told Taka that I was not prepared to follow what Enaro had told me and that he should inform him to count me out of it. You don't remember what he told you, but you remember saying that they should count you out of it. What's it? And that I would never go to see Enaro again. In the evening of the same date, 22nd accused and I went to see 27th accused at his official residence in Ikoyi. He discussed the question of a coup d'etat with us. He said that people were worrying him to give his blessing to the coup d'etat. He said that without our support, he would not pursue it. He said he would dismiss the matter from his mind. He told me to go and give a thought to it and let him know what I thought of it. When he returned to the flat of 22nd accused, I told him. When we returned to the flat of 22nd accused, I told him that I was surprised at what he had said. This discussion with 27th accused was my second visit to 27th accused. On the first occasion, he did not discuss the question of a coup d'etat with me. He asked me to come and see him at the end of the month. At the end of that month. It was at this second visit that 27th accused discussed this matter with me. The second visit was on 1st September 1962. We, Taka, 22nd accused, and I went to see him together on this second occasion. Because I put up with the 22nd accused and we returned. Jeez. Let me drink water, please. I just didn't accuse. I wish they just wrote the names, man. It's a bit monotonous. So let's go on. The second visit was on the 1st September 1962. We, Taka, 22nd accused, and I went to see him together on this second occasion. Because I put up with the 22nd accused, and when we returned, we discussed the matter. i.e., 22nd accused and I in the former's flat. I told 22nd accused to tell 27th accused that I was not going to take part in the coup d'etat, and he should count me out of it. I also want 22nd accused seriously to get out of it. About 4 days later, Dokotre and one girls came to stay with 22nd accused and me. Dokotre and 22nd accused went to see 27th accused. I did not go. On their return, Dokotre related to me what had happened. I warned 22nd accused and Dokotre in the presence of girls that they should get out of it. About a week or so, 27th accused sent for 22nd accused, Dokotre and me to come and see him. I went with 22nd accused and Dokotre to see him. This was in his official residence at Ikoyi. He, 27th accused both Dokotre and myself. He accused me of accusing him, 27th accused, that he was trying to impose southern hegemony on the north. He also accused Dokotre of trying to leave the action group to join the civil service. I asked him who told him about the allegation he made, and he said it was Otobo who told him. Cross-examination of Alhaji Ibrahim Imam by 27th accused. If you now enter that, if I got $1 for each time, it is well. Let's go on. Cross-examination of Alhaji Ibrahim Imam by 27th accused. I went for treatment in that's Dr. Maja's hospital in September 1962. First prosecution witness spoke to us of a certain element in the West and Lagos, which was prepared to take over the government when the UNBC caused the disturbance in the North, and the attention of the police and army was diverted. He also told me that it was part of his plan to blow up the federal parliament when it was in session. He did not give the date. He said other important buildings would also be blown up as well. He did not speak about the NCNC or NPC. It was just about the government he wanted to take over. At the time, first prosecution witness spoke to me. The Northern Regional election was pending. Who is this first prosecution witness trying to blow up everywhere? That's Dr. Maja. At the time, first prosecution witness spoke to me. The Northern Regional election was pending. It was after the election that you spoke to me. You and I used to meet frequently. By you, he meant Papa. You spoke to me about first prosecution witness on 2 occasions. The first occasion was the one you warned me seriously alone and separately. You warned 22nd accused separately because he came and told me. The second occasion was when I returned from the mid. You said that I should have nothing to do with first prosecution. You said that you warned me that I should have nothing to do with first prosecution witness because he was a dangerous person. You said that I should have nothing to do with first prosecution witness about money or arms. You said that the action group was planning along a similar line and that we should steer clear of first prosecution witness. You told us that it was a mad business blowing up parliament and the important buildings and bridges. It is not correct that your first discussion with me about first prosecution witness was before the Northern Regional elections. It was after that election. It might be that the election took place on the 4th of May 1961. Early in 1961, 22nd accused and yourself were busy looking for a safe seat for me. You came to Boko to interview the TIV leaders to agree to my nomination as a candidate in TIV division. A lorry was brought for the candidate to stand down for me and send money given to him to set him up in business. I am still the first vice president of the action group. Since 1959, I have been getting subventions from the action group, sometimes monthly, sometimes quarterly, and sometimes annually. I got the subventions up to the end of December 1961. 22nd accused, early, Jesus, where is this? I'm trying to find the page. Sound. Is there noise in the background? Olowo. I just noticed someone just wrote sound in the comment section. Is the sound good or bad? Olowo Duro. Or any other person, is the sound good? Or is there something? I'm wondering why he's writing that in the comment section. It's noisy. How come nobody? Sound is okay. Shareware said it's okay. Hello? No. Leave the underground noise. That it can't be perfect. We're not in the studio. No. It's fine. I was about to touch something now. It was scattered everywhere. The underground noise is not underground, it's background noise. It's okay, please. Don't worry, when we set up the studio, which we are going to set up very soon, you will not hear anything. You will not hear any noise apart from that. Get no background noise at all. That will happen soon by God's grace. But for now, let's just work together. Yeah? I was about to touch something. Thank God I had to listen myself. But thank you for bringing that up. But I apologize. It is what it is for now. Where were we? We were where we were. Let's just go back to the Gboko thing. It says you came to Gboko to interview the TIV leaders to agree to my nomination as a candidate in TIV division. A lorry was bought, or a lorry, for the candidate to stand down for me and some money given to him to set him up in business. I am still the first vice president of the action group. Since 1959, I have been getting subventions from the action group, sometimes monthly, sometimes quarterly, and sometimes annually. I got the subventions up to the end of December 1961. I never traveled with Dokotri at any time. I cannot remember that Dokotri, Ojime, Asadugu, and I were present in your office immediately after the election. I was very bitter the way the election had been conducted. I was more bitter still because 22nd accused was locked up in jail in Jos. It is not correct that I told you that unless 22nd accused was released immediately, I was going to Lagos to collect arms and fight in the north. In other words, essentially this is a cross-examination. So the question must have been that, did you tell me that unless 22nd accused was released immediately, you would go to Lagos to collect arms and fight in the north? That would be the question. So he says, it is not correct that I told you that unless 22nd accused was released immediately, I was going to Lagos to collect arms and fight in the north. It is your imagination. We never discussed the issue. It was when you were warning me about Dr. Maja that you used the words that we would be mown down like grass if any rioting should start in the north. This was after the northern elections. Most of the leaders of the BYM were in prison, and on my own, I decided to merge the party with the action group. I committed the party on my own. I considered myself competent to confirm the merger between BYM and AG. I am anxious to go back to Maiduguri and live there. I am anxious to repair the whole house because only the roofs were burnt down. I have never approached you for financial assistance. I never asked 22nd accused and Dokotri to join me in making an appeal to you. I never solicited their support even this year. This is a letter written by 22nd accused Dokotri and myself to you, tendered, read in court, no objection admitted, and marked Exhibit 35. I do not know whether the first request has been met. Up till date, the action group has never given me any aid or help to rebuild my house. Up till end of August 1962, I could not have gone to Maiduguri and felt safe. Why is that? Because of the opponents up north. One of the policies of the action group was to democratize the native authority system in the northern region. There is no policy to raise the living standard of the people of northern Nigeria. Excuse me. There's no policy to raise the living standard of the people in northern Nigeria. Another problem was to resist the oppression flowing from the feudal system in the northern region. Another problem was how to get the action group to campaign freely in the north. I do not know about the problem about making the action group impregnable in the northern region. Another problem was how to prevent the extension of Lagos, and this was discussed at the 1960 Congress at Abalabi Hotel. Another problem discussed was how to get the federal government to create not only the Midwest states, but to create more states in the eastern and northern Nigeria. I cannot remember that another problem was how to prevent the federal government from dissolving the western regional government. A discussion was made about the meeting up. I'll say that again. A discussion was made about the setting up of a tactical committee. I attended the meetings referred to in Exhibit 10, pages 66. In Exhibit 10, pages 66 to 69. The purpose of the tactical committee was not all that was set out at page 66. There were more. I cannot tell what they were, but I felt that they were more than those stated in the book. There were about 200 or more at that meeting. Sometimes we attend an executive committee meeting, we sign an attendance committee register. I am not a member of the tactical committee. The problem of enfranchisement of women in the northern region was also discussed. I cannot remember the question of thugs by NPC was a matter confronting the action group in the north. NPC thugs killed 5 members of the BYM, and in 1958 they killed 5 again, and we killed 7 of theirs. We do discuss about NCNC thuggery in the western and eastern regions. I do not know the NPC thuggery is particularly violent in Abuja, Maiduguri, and Kano. During the 1961 crisis, you delegated me to go and settle the intended formation by 22nd accused of a new organization. It is not correct that we agreed to create Borno State, the remaining part of the far north, old Adamawa province. It was only the Middle Belt and the far north state that we agreed upon. Not shown me, I'll tell you again, Mr. Lin has not shown me a new flag by the action group. I do not know whether you consulted any group of people before you gave the various assignments. I wanted the money from the first prosecution witness to organize a party, but not the arms. He discussed with me where he was going to get the arms. He said the arms were to be got from Czechoslovakia through Ghana. He said that he had been to Czechoslovakia more than once in connection with arms. He said that he would bring the arms and ammunition in a fishing boat. He told me all this before you ever spoke to me about first prosecution witness. He told me all this before the middle of 1961. First prosecution witness paid my hotel bills at Olympic Hotel on one occasion. It is not correct that after you had warned me, I continued to have dealings with first prosecution witness. I never wanted his money or his arms. So you said you wanted the money, but not the arms. Anyway, I never wanted his money or his arms. You only warned me once against first prosecution witness. It is not correct that you warned me on more than one occasion. I said that I never continued with first prosecution witness. Just take a short break so it doesn't become monotonous. Anybody remembers who the first prosecution witness was? Anybody? Somebody remember? We go retire. Who is the first prosecution witness? We've mentioned his name a number of times. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Thank you, Your Might on YouTube. Thank you. Bumblebee, yay, no. Iroko has not even spoken at all. First prosecution witness is Oladepo Maja, Dr. Maja. Is the one they've been referring to. Yes, FFT. Yes, Bumblebee. Yes. Let's go on. When I went to see you at Ikene, you told me that 22nd accused had told you during a meeting in my absence that it was I who originated the idea of forming a new party. He, 27th accused, also asked whether 22nd accused still continued association with first prosecution witness because you were not on good terms with the 22nd accused. I told you that I did not know about that, but that he had sent me a letter which indicated that he continued his association with first prosecution witness, Dr. Maja. In order to exonerate myself, I asked Azadugu to accompany me to Boko so as to tell 22nd accused what I had told you in his presence. You asked me about 22nd accused and I went to produce Exhibit 36. I never brought Exhibit 36 to exonerate myself from your allegation that I associated with first prosecution witness. You asked me to allow you to keep the letter and I agreed. It is not correct that up till September 1962, I was still associating with the first prosecution witness. I received free treatment, but it charged someone else whom I took with me. First prosecution witness's idea of going to Ghana then was not to collect arms. We spent a few hours in Ghana. He did not tell me what he discussed Ghana. I am not a mercenary or venal politician. It is not correct that money is the objective of my consideration. I did not resign from the NPC because I was not made a minister. I did not resign from NEPO NCNC alliance because the fountain of money had dried up. I did not tell you when I got £250 from Dr. Maja, but when you asked me, I told you. I did not decamp from the action group because there was no money to be got in a big way. I got £50 from you on 19 September 1962. You gave £50 to Alhaji Gobe Zantashi. You gave me £50 alone, but when you gave him his £50, I was present. You know, these are responses to questions, right? Replies to questions. Let's go on. I was told on request that the party had not got sufficient money to pay my allowances. The expenses would not be less than £24,000 for 1961. Last year, you commissioned me to lead the campaign in the Sardauna province. Excuse me. I received £500 in addition to candidates' fees for my own expenses. Oh boy, this is going deep. It's going deep into what happened. You know what, let's just read it because we've started. Oh boy, it is well. I don't mind reading. I mean, I read this thing on my own. I've read these things, but it's a bit weird saying it out. But where were we? All the monies were intended for the organization of the party in the North for the purpose of winning an election. I do not know how much the Northern elections cost the party. It might be £100,000, if not more. The election was not fair. I discussed the matter with you. After the elections, shortly after, all the legislators who won the elections came to hold a meeting with you. A luncheon party was arranged at the Lafia Rest House. I attended a press conference which you held in connection with the Northern elections. I do not remember the date. You mentioned that emirs, village and district and ward heads should have nothing to do with maintenance of law and order during the polling day. You also mentioned that during the federal elections and regional elections, parties should be free to hold meetings, which was not the case in 1961. You also suggested that the Nigerian police should be in charge of the maintenance of law and order instead of dandokas. You said during the press conference that the action group was prepared to drive this point home to the NPC by means of propaganda, that you were determined to use the procedure to the fullest. One of the problems was to mobilize public opinion in Nigeria as well as overseas for the purpose of preventing the use of excessive powers by the federal government. Our visit to the Middle East in 1961 was for this purpose. There was no time I was given money to purchase arms or do anything inimical to the interest of public peace. On 31st May 1961, a subcommittee of the Federal Executive Council was set up to inquire into the causes of action group setback at the last regional elections. It was presided over by Chief Rotimi Williams. I was a member. Dokochi was also a member. I remember that part of our recommendations reads as follows. Quote, if these recommendations do not show any useful result or are frustrated by unforeseen abuses of power by the NPC, then the party will have to reassess its attitude to making use of the ballot box as a means of changing the status quo in the northern region. What I have now said is substantially the same as the part of the press conference you gave. There have been many occasions of complaints about the elections in the East since I have been in the action group. I'll say that again. There have been many occasions of complaints about the elections in the East since I have been in the action group. I cannot remember that the party takes the same view that the elections in the East were not free and fair as in the Northern region. The election in the Western region was never discussed in our meetings. I cannot remember that the election in the Eastern region was ever discussed in our meetings. I cannot remember that the election in the Eastern region was ever discussed in our meetings as regards it being fair and free. I cannot remember our discussion about the election in Lagos being either free or fair. We have discussed time and again the elections in the North being neither free nor fair. The plan of the executive committee was to have a massive organization in the North for the purpose of winning elections. The question of elections in the North started from the 1959 elections. The plan was for a massive organization. The plan for a massive organization was made after the northern elections. I have made strenuous efforts to join with parties in the north for the purpose of winning the elections in the north. On my recommendation, after the regional elections in the north, the party went out of its way to woo the NEPO to join up with the action group. On my recommendation, money was paid to some influential members of the NEPO. I cannot remember about soliciting the NCNC in the south. We both discussed about working for cooperation with the NCNC in the south. When we got some members of the NEPO to resign and form the NEFO, we relaxed our efforts to solicit the aid of NEPO, but we continued the contact. Up till now, I still contact them. There was some misunderstanding between 22nd accused, Dokotri, and Dokotri, but you and I settled it. The misunderstanding arose because Dokotri wanted the UMBC to merge with the action group. The 22nd accused wanted the formation of a new organization. It was not the encouragement given by the first prosecution witness that encouraged the protagonist of the new party to commence its formation. First prosecution witness wanted UMBC youths to be organized. I came with 22nd accused when we came to discuss about the local elections with you. You asked 22nd accused to go and prepare an estimate. 22nd accused and Gobe Zantashi came together to you. On entering there, I met you, Dr. Chike Obi, and Enaoro holding a discussion. I came after 7 p.m. 22nd accused and Dokotri had been to you earlier, and on their return, 22nd accused asked me to come and see you. I said that I could not go as you had not sent for me. I later went. It is not correct that you sent your private secretaries to call 4 of us. I did not come to you with Gobe Zantashi at 9:30 p.m. I came to you after 7 p.m. after breaking my fast time and saying my prayers for less than 30 minutes. It is not correct that Dokotri, 22nd accused, Geos, and I came together to your place. All of us waited for money on the 19th September 1962. I never said in reference to the action group that the cow was no longer producing milk. I was told of Dr. Chike Obi. I'll take it again. I was told of Dr. Chike Obi's escapade with Enaoro. Excuse me. I was told of Dr. Chike Obi's escapade when Enaoro escaped through the frontier. The discussion about the breakaway took place in September. The discussion about arms plot and arms raids took place in Lagos. I never told Dokotri to cooperate with the police. I told Dokotri that in response to the appeal made by the Prime Minister to all Nigerian citizens, I suggested we should cooperate with the police. I made my statement to the police on 4/11/1962. I do not remember the date, but I remember that I was at a meeting with Chief Akintola. I'll tell that again. I do not remember the date, but I remember that I was at a meeting when Chief Akintola was asked to report about the meeting of the Prime Minister and Premiers. You opened the discussion on that day. There were a number of people present. I cannot remember whether it was on the 18th December 1961. Chief Social Nibare, excuse me. Chief Social Nibare Ikoku, Chief Lanleyin, 22nd accused, Dr. Akoni Doherty, Dr. Akinola Maja, and by the way, Dr. Akinola Maja is from Oladipo Maja, just to put it out there, they are different. And 17th accused were present there. I cannot remember whether Rosiji was present. In opening the meeting, you said that Akintola had made a report to a smaller body, that you wanted him to report to a larger body. We all expressed a dissatisfaction about the performance of Chief Akintola at that meeting and gave him a directive as to what to do at the next meeting of the Prime Minister and Premiers. The subject matter of discussion was about the introduction of a Preventive Detention Act in Nigeria. Dr. Ladipo Maja, on our return from Ghana, said that the minister was prepared to provide him with money. He only said that he saw a minister in Ghana. Dr. Ladipo Maja spoke about 3 people from the north who wanted to borrow money from the Ghana government. He said that he met the 3 northerners in Ghana. He said that some northerners had broken from the NPC and had formed a party, and that these 3 northerners were the leaders. I then mentioned the names to him, and he agreed. When we got to Ghana, Dr. Ladipo Maja left me in the house of a woman in Ghana and went out. He kept me there for 2 hours and later returned. He then asked us to return to Nigeria. He said that he had seen the minister, but that he had not got any money, but it would be arriving later on. When I came to Ibadan, I telephoned first prosecution witness about the money he had promised. He then told me he was going to Ghana for the money. Hence, we went to Ghana. It is not correct that he kept me in the dark about arms, and that was why I said he kept me in the dark. It is not correct that we went to arrange for arms alone, but also to arrange for the fishing boats to bring in the arms. I was not fascinated by first prosecution witness's plan to cause trouble in the north, and that was when that plan flopped. I decided to put the blame on others. I read the press conference called in my absence by other members of the party, and I asked my lawyer on my return to take necessary action. The accusation was that I had misappropriated party funds. You told the people that they should apologize for going to the press before making a formal request to me. I have always been bold to express my views on any subject whatever. There were occasions when you had or I had to bow to my views or your views. By virtue of my position in the party, you attach greater importance to me than the 22nd accused. You know the TIV division very well. It may be that you know the northern region better than the Prime Minister and the Southern of Sokoto. TIV division is a flat country. You know the western region very well, and there are many hilly places in the eastern Nigeria. It may be that you know the eastern Nigeria. It may be that you know the eastern region very well. It may be that there are many hills. I'll say that again. It may be that you know the eastern region very well. It may be that there are many hilly places there. Enugu is hilly. The story which I told you as having taken place between Dokori or Dokotri, Taka, and Lanleyin is not a complete fabrication. It is not necessarily that whenever Lanleyin was present at any meeting, it was because of money matters. I did not do it deliberately to cover up my lies by not mentioning the specific date that this discussion took place. I accompanied you to Takoradi in 1961 on your way on leave. You asked us to accompany you because some members of the action group had asked you to address them in Ghana. They wanted you to address them in a number of places. You could not fulfill the assignment as the boat had to leave earlier than usual, and we had to fulfill the assignment. Some of us came back by road and others by air. I came back by air. We went to Ghana together before you proceeded on leave. The visit was to lecture members of the action group, CPP, and university students. You told us that you were invited by action group members in Ghana. You and I and others paid a courtesy call on Dr. Nkrumah. We stayed for quite a long time with him. We discussed Pan-Africanism and other matters. We left the place together. I keep a diary, but I did not record coming to Ibadan for meetings or your suggestions of disappearing to the TIF division if you were mountainous. You were fastidious about appointments. I cannot recall any occasion in which I have come all the way from the north without previous appointment and you refusing to see me. You discussed the question of ammunition with me in June 1962. You asked me about 22nd accused and I said that I had not seen him. You then said that if he was around, you would pass some arms to him. I do not think there are differences between arms and ammunition. All you have told the court is a complete fabrication. So that's that for Ibrahim Imam. Next person is Doko 3, but it's almost 8. Again, I'll advise that you actually get this book. Like I said, this series, this particular one, is about book reading. But at some point, I'm going to move to other books. But if you like to read, you can get this book on Redomi Books Telegram. Redomi is spelled Redomi on Telegram. The book is called Adventures in Power Book 1, My March Through Prison. And right now we're discussing the prosecution. We've listened to the first prosecution witness, Akela Maja, and also Nobamiro, and now Ibrahim Imam. The next person is Doko 3. I think we can take one more. So this is Doko 3's evidence in chief. Again, we're still discussing the prosecution. Much later, we'll go on to the defense. So this is Dokotri's evidence in chief. I am a politician. I'm a member of the United Military. Okay. Once I'm excited like this, now water and okay. I am a politician. I'm a member of the United Middle Belt. Why am I saying military? I was going to say military actually. United Military sounds better. I have to slow down. So let's start from the beginning. Dokotri's evidence in chief. I am a politician. I'm a member of the United Middle Belt Congress. I am the General Secretary of the party. I've always been a member of the party from its inception in 1956. My party became an ally of the Action Group in 1957. I know the first prosecution witness. Early last year, I saw first prosecution witness in Lagos in his house near St. Michael's Church, Lafiaji. He sent me a telegram to come to see him. I came down and stayed with him in his house. That was the first time I met him. He came to meet me at Garba Square, Garba Square, yeah. He came to meet me at Garba Square and introduced himself to me. 1 second, please. He came to see me at Garba Square and introduced himself to me. He then took me to his lodging place. I slept in his house that night. I had some discussions with him. He took me out and showed me some properties along Ikorodu Road. This was early in January 1961. He showed me some houses. We returned to the house and he asked me whether I believed in God. And I said yes. He then replied that I was no good. This was on a Sunday. On Monday morning, I returned to Jos. On getting to Jos, I wrote him a letter and I got a reply from him. Exhibit E was the reply I got from him. I gave Exhibit E to 27th accused. I drove down to Ibadan and gave Exhibit E to 27th accused. I was very much distressed by what first prosecution witness had told me, and I came to explain to 27th accused what first prosecution witness had told me. 22nd accused, however, told me that he would see Dr. Maja all the same. I do not know whether 22nd accused saw first prosecution witness or not. I later saw first prosecution witness in Ghana, in Accra, when I accompanied 27 accused on his visit to Ghana. I saw first prosecution witness at the Star Hotel. I went there with Dosumu, administrative secretary of the Action Group. I met the first prosecution witness alone. 4th and 6th accused were amongst those who went with me to the Star Hotel. We spent about 9 to 10 days in Ghana in the entourage of 27th accused and we returned to Nigeria. This was in 1961. About the middle of last year, I attended a routine consultation meeting in the office of the 27th accused, and those present were 22nd accused, 4th prosecution witness, Jonah Sadugu, Chief Lanleyi, and 3 others I cannot now remember. After the meeting, the 27th accused addressed us. He spoke to us and we all agreed. He discredited the ballot box and went on to tell us that he had a plan for the creation of more states. He said that if we who were present supported him, he was going to a hideout in Tiv Division to fight the government. He also said that there were some arms in the country. He also stated that he had something which, if it was knocked down in an office, the person there would be unconscious and files could be removed. He asked us to go and think over and give the suggestion a thought and let him know about it. He said he would give us an assignment after this. After this, we dispersed and went home. About November 1961, on instructions received, Orondi and I returned to Ibadan. We went to Ibadan by road and reported to the Action Group Secretariat in Ibadan. There, I met 9th accused, 1 Ayuade Banjo, 21st accused, 22nd accused, 3rd accused, Babalola, 10th accused, Stevie Debido, 18th accused, and 13th accused. All these people I have mentioned held a meeting together. Ikoko told us that we were being sent for training in Ghana so that we could take over the government. In the absence of the 27 accused, he told us that we were selected by the 27 accused. 18th accused also spoke. No other person spoke. The meeting dispersed. Burundi and I then went to 27 accused in his office in Ibadan. I saw him. I told him I needed some money as I had not been paid for some time. He directed us to Oredein. We then went to see 11th accused. One second, please. Brilliant. Okay. The meeting dispersed. Murundi and I then went to the 27th accused in his office in Ibadan. I saw him. I told him I needed some money as I had not been paid for some time. He directed us to Oredein. We then went to see 11th accused and he gave us £70 each. I passed the night at Morundia's house in Ibadan. On the following morning, I, Morundia, 21st accused, Adebanjo, 9th accused, Babalola, 22nd accused, 10th accused, Stephen Ebido, and 3rd accused traveled from Ibadan to Ghana. We traveled by road in 2 cars. We went to Accra. We stayed at Seaview Hotel. Mr. Koko came and saw the 10 of us who put up at the Seaview Hotel. Ikoko called 21st accused and Morundia, and they held a secret discussion. Morundia told me later that the subject of discussion was that we were to visit the Bureau of African Affairs. The 10 of us who put up at the Seaview Hotel were there. We visited the Bureau at about 10 p.m. After our visit, we returned to the Seaview Hotel and slept there. The 10 of us, whose names I mentioned yesterday, were summoned into a room at the Seaview Hotel and addressed by Mr. Ikoku. He said that we were being trained to take over the government of the Federation of our training. I'll tell that again. He said that we were being trained to take over the government of the Federation after our training. He said we were to receive military training in the use of arms and ammunition. He further said that we were to leave for our training camp in the evening of that day. At about 8 p.m., the 10 of us left for our training camp. We were conveyed in one Land Rover. Man, if you blink, you'll be looking for these words. The lettering is very tiny, and the book is bulky, so not double work. Mumbo. Great. We were conveyed in one Land Rover. We left for a camp somewhere in Ghana. The place is about 200 miles to Seaview Hotel. On getting there, we were deposited in a camp. There were military tents about the place. There were 6 tents there, 3 on each side. We stayed there for about 9 days. Whilst there, 2nd accused and 9th accused left us in the camp to return home. There was a watch night in the camp. At about the 10th day after arrival there, 3 people arrived, 2 Europeans and 1 Ghanaian. They came in a Land Rover followed by a big lorry. The lorry contained crates of guns and ammunition. The 8 of us who remained behind helped to offload them from the lorry. We told them that we had got fed up waiting for them and had even decided to return home that day. They expressed disappointment, but we promised we would come back again, and so we left. The 8 of us then left the place for Accra. We traveled in the lorry that brought the crates of guns and the Land Rover that brought the Europeans. We then returned to the Seaview Hotel. On the following morning, 21st accused, Adebanjo, 3rd accused, Morundia, and I returned to Nigeria. We chartered a bus from Accra. The bus was owned by Mr. Grant. The 5 of us who came in the bus stopped at Abeokuta. We then chartered another bus and arrived at Ibadan. I spent the night at Morundia's house. Morundia and I then went and reported to 27th accused. We told him we had just returned from Accra, where we had been for training, which we did not get. He demanded reasons from us, and we told him that the instructors had arrived late and we could not wait for them any longer. He, 27th accused, expressed regret and said that he would send us back as soon as possible. I then returned to Jos later. About May 1962, Adebanjo approached me and Morundia that our colleagues were going back to Ghana. Mr. Adebanjo offered me one money in Ibadan so that we could travel to Ghana. Both of us declined to receive the money because we could not travel at that particular time. Towards the end of May 1962, the 23rd accused approached me at Ibadan. Morondia was also there. He said that we were to go to Ghana for training and offered each of us £100. I accepted the money and signed for £200 as I was asked to sign for the two of us. Although I got the £100 as my own share, I returned to Jos. Sometime in June 1962, I got a telegram from 13th accused, in consequence of which I went to see him in his office in Lagos. I traveled in my car to Lagos. The 13th accused then told me that I should go for the training in Ghana, as some people had already gone and were waiting for me. I told him that I could not go at that time as my child was ill. I left him and returned to Jos. In July 1962, Morondi and I visited the 27th accused in his house at Ikene. We traveled in Morondia's car. He was under restriction in his house at Ikene at this time. We saw him. He, 27th accused, expressed surprise when he saw us and thought we had gone to Ghana for training. He then asked for explanation. He said that others had gone and we should go for our training and we should not waste time as everything was ready for taking over the federal government. We told him we would go but never went. I returned to Jos. Later in August 1962, I came to Lagos and went to see the 27th accused at his residence at 7 Bell Avenue, Ikoyi. I saw him. I then told him that I was then ready to go for the training in Ghana. He said that there was no point in my going alone. He said I should go and see 22nd accused who had not been there and get more Northerners to go with me. I then traveled to Boko to see 22nd accused and told him what 27th accused had said. I went to Boko by road. From the money given to me by 27th accused, I paid my hotel bill of £20 in Lagos. He gave me £40 in addition. The whole £60 was given to me in cash. The money was given to me by the secretary of 27th accused. I saw 22nd accused at Boko. I delivered 27th accused message to 22nd accused, and he, 22nd accused, said that he had already got some thief boys ready for the training in Ghana. One Ayila Yog was present when I went to see 22nd accused. I even offered to go with the thief boys to Ghana for training. 22nd accused asked me to return to Jos and that he would see 27th accused and would later send for me. I returned to Jos. When no message came from 22nd accused, I came to Lagos with one girl, Gilama. I put up with 22nd accused in his flat in Lagos. It was on the 3rd of September 1962. On 4th September 1962, 22nd accused and I went to see the 27th accused at 7 Bell Avenue, Ikoyi, Lagos. We met him and held some discussions with him. 27 accused spoke to us about the coup d'etat to overthrow the federal government. He said it was going to be 100% successful and bloodless. He then turned to me and said that if I had gone for the training, he would have explained the whole plan to me. He said that I was sitting on the fence. He said I should go and think it over and cooperate with 22nd accused. 22nd accused and I returned to the hotel of the 22nd accused. Astaka and I were discussing about the coup d'etat and the party organization one morning. Some few days later, fourth prosecution witness Alhaji Ibrahim Imam came in and warned both of us to get out of the plan about the coup d'etat because it was dangerous. 22nd accused got annoyed and said that Alhaji Ibrahim Imam was trying to demoralize me. During the same month, as a result of the request of 27 accused, the 22nd accused, the fourth prosecution witness, and I went to see the 27th accused. We met him in his house at 7 Bell Avenue, Ikoyi, Lagos. On getting there, 27th accused reprimanded Alhaji Ibrahim Imam, fourth prosecution witness, and me severely. He said that he received a report that he, Alhaji Ibrahim Imam, had accused him, 27th accused, of trying to impose southern domination over the north. He, 27 accused, also accused me of trying to leave the action group to join the civil service. I told him that this was not true. We then returned to our flat. On 19 September 1962, 22nd accused and I went to see the 27th accused at his residence at Ikoyi, Lagos. We were taken to a room and there we met 27th accused and Enaoro holding a conference. 27 accused told Enaoro in our presence that it appeared the government knew about the plot to overthrow it. He then asked Enaoro that if he were to leave the country then, who would look after the Midwest? Enaoro then suggested Otobo, but he, 27 accused, replied that it was no good. Enaoro said that Otobo was the only person in the area who could look after the Midwest. At this juncture, The 15th accused arrived at the premises. He, 27 accused, explained to us that Nauro could not get all the money needed from abroad. He said that the little he had brought had to be shared around. 27 accused gave 13th accused some money and gave 27 accused and me the sum of £300. As the 15th accused was about to leave, the 19th accused came in. The 17th accused then dismissed 22nd accused and me and asked us to go. He asked 22nd accused to see him later and he agreed. We, 22nd accused and I, then returned to the flat. On the following day, I left for Jos with my own share of £50 out of £300. Cross-examination of Dokotri by 27th accused. It is quite true that I visited Ibadan in November 1961. My pay was in arrears for some time. I had not been paid arrears of salaries for 3 months when I saw you in November 1961. It is not a lie that I came to you in August 1962 in order to offer myself to go to Ghana. It is not correct that another reason for my coming was to counteract the influence of the UPP in the Middle Belt among our legislators. Excuse me. I came in November 1961 to you to ask for the arrears of my salary, which I had not had for the year. At this particular time, we came to you to explain to you regarding arrears of pay. I am not in a position to say that the party was owing me in November 1960, and I have not got the account with me. I was telling the truth when I said that Moro went to see you asking for money as our pay was a lie that the party was owing me. I think the party was owing me. If you're on TikTok, let this TikTok not owe us. Please power tap. We're rounding up, but we need to get this live active until we're done. So if you're on TikTok, please power tap as you listen to the reading. Just good. In November 1961, it is not a lie that the party was owing me. I think the party was owing me. I cannot remember that I have received all my allowances from January 1961. As far as the account goes, the content might be correct. Under normal circumstances, the officers dealing with payments of my consolidated allowances are Lanley, Shashore, and Lainka. My hotel bill was £30 or £20. My hotel bill was £20, and then I got an extra £40. I came here either at the end of July or early August 1962, and I stayed there for a week. I came by road and returned by road. Witness only admitted this after DPP had confirmed that he had said so in evidence in chief. It is not correct that we discuss the TV elections, the UPP menace, and staff salaries. I never promised that as a result of the UPP menace, I agreed to do a tour of Bauchi and Plateau and Southern Zaria. It is not correct that I asked that I would do that if the party could fuel my car. You gave me £40 to go and see 22nd appeal. I'll tell that again. You gave me £20 to go and see 22nd accused about the training in Ghana. The money was to be used in fueling my car. I did not discuss the UPP menace and NPC overtures to our members at this particular time. It is not correct that the main purpose of my return to Jos was to see Taka and do a quick tour of the area mentioned and return to Lagos. It is not correct that I ever intended to fly to Jos and return to upset the UPP menace. I came for a special purpose about training in Ghana. It is not correct that you sent your private secretary to pay me £50, part of which was to be used for my hotel bill, and the balance to be spent in fueling my car, to do a quick tour of the area, Bauchi, Plateau, and Southern Zaria, because Dhaka 22nd accused had already come to Lagos. I cannot remember writing, but I came to you. I cannot remember writing on this occasion. Exhibit 43 was written in connection with the visit I was referring to. The new moves I referred to in my letter were those by NPC and UPP. They were trying to entice our legislators in the federal parliament. I alone went to see first prosecution witness. He told me that the means to overthrow the government was to blow up parliament during the session in August 1961. He said that you were as bad as the other leaders and should not be spared as the other leaders. In other words, the original plan was to take out even Awolowo himself. Revolution now. He said that you were as bad as the other leaders and should not be spared as the other leaders. I reported to Morondia about what transpired between first prosecution witness and me. I was extremely opposed to everything first prosecution witness told me. At that time, I was going to report to the police, but Morondia advised against it. Morondia did not advise me to report to you. It is not correct that you advised me to write to the first prosecution witness that I was not interested in a scheme. You did not tell me that if first prosecution witness and I were caught, the NPC will use it as an occasion to destroy the action group. When I came to see you in Ibadan, I did not tell you that first prosecution witness sent me to 22nd accused and fourth prosecution witness. It is not correct that you said you would contact the 22nd accused and fourth prosecution witness, and I said that if you did so, the people will suspect me of having reported to you. That was another occasion. It is not correct that you asked me to write. Just want to know how long this is. Oh boy. It is not correct, yo, Boluwa. It is not correct that you said you would contact the 22nd accused and fourth prosecution witness, and I said that if you did so, the people will suspect me of having reported to you. That was another occasion. It is not correct that you asked me to write to the first prosecution witness disagreeing with his views, and that when I got the reply, I should bring it to you. The version is that I brought the letter to you of my own volition. I told you at a later stage that I learned the fourth prosecution witness and 22nd accused were in contact with the first prosecution witness on the overthrow of the government, and I wrote to you and demanded the return of my letter. You told me that first prosecution witness was mad and that he had deceived me by using his father's name. This is the letter I wrote to you, tendered, read in court, and marked Exhibit 44. Exhibit 44 was written in just by me. I remember that I enclosed the letter written to me by first prosecution witness. Exhibit E, you asked me to send Exhibit E to you, hence I sent it as requested. I apologize for the background noise. Don't worry, it gets better. Exhibit E, you asked me to send Exhibit E to you, hence I sent it as requested. I now changed my evidence. When I came to you and told you of the discussion between first prosecution witness and me, and I said E, first prosecution witness, wrote to me, you asked for the letter and I said I will send it to you. Hence Exhibit 44. It is not correct that Morondia told me that I should not inform the police because it was drastic. He advised me to come and see you. At another occasion, when you said that you would call fourth prosecution witness and 22nd accused, I advised that you should not do so. What happened was that I told you that fourth prosecution witness and 22nd accused were interested in first prosecution witness's plan, and then you should try and check them without disclosing the source of your information to them. On the first one to report first prosecution witness, I told you that fourth prosecution witness and 22nd accused had been to see first prosecution witness. What I meant by the personalities continuing to equip the horse in Exhibit 44 is what I had in mind. That is, that the 22nd accused, fourth prosecution witness, and first prosecution witness were preparing to overthrow the government. By the way, 22nd accused, just in case you'll be shouting, accused. 22nd accused is Joseph Taka. Fourth prosecution witness is Ibrahim Imam. First prosecution witness is Dr. Ladipo Maja. Okay. It is well. I hope you so you know exactly what they're talking about. So he says here, what I meant by the personalities continuing to equip the us in Exhibit 44 is what I had in mind. That is that the 22nd accused Astaka, fourth prosecution witness Imam, and first prosecution witness Maja were preparing to overthrow the government. I am not an intelligent person. Jesus is Lord. I am not an intelligent person. There were several discussions about 22nd accused, fourth prosecution witness, and first prosecution witness before writing Exhibit E. First prosecution witness sent me a message to 22nd accused and fourth prosecution witness about the scheme, which he had. Fourth prosecution witness was on tour of the Middle East when I came to lodge the report with you. I cannot remember that when Morondia, Adesina, and I came to you, we discussed the aspect of fourth prosecution witness and 22nd accused continuing to have contact with first prosecution witness. It was around March 1961 that I had the last discussion with you about fourth prosecution witness and 22nd accused on the one hand and first prosecution witness on the other. I did not see you again after forwarding Exhibit 44 and Exhibit E to you until June 1961. The last discussion I referred to as being in March 1961 was at Ibadan. I cannot remember that I visited you between March 1961 and June 1961. I know I met you in June the election in 1961, but I do not remember the month. You came to campaign for me in my constituency. You campaigned for 3 good days in my constituency. Now, what is he getting for it right now? You campaigned for 3 good days in my constituency. I cannot remember that the Northern House of Assembly was dissolved in April 1961. It is not true that we did not meet between March. Sorry, the guy said it was not intelligent, Abi. I think he was right. Because he said, so this is how I read, by the way. So he did not remember that he visited Awo between March and June of 1961. He then said it is not true that they did not meet between March and June 1961. That means they met. Guy is contradicting himself. He's not even girl. Let's just continue, Jerry. The money shown on Exhibit 45 was received by me. I cannot remember we had 2 sessions, but I remember we had 1 meeting. There was no such proposal that there should be a new flag for the party after the merger. Fourth prosecution and I, Victoria Beach. It might be I arrived in Lagos on 2nd November 1962. About your being charged to court in Lagos, partly in Jos and partly here, I arrived in Lagos days after the 2nd November 1962. I must have come to Lagos about 10th November 1962. I returned to Jos since last Friday by car. I met fourth prosecution witness when I came to Lagos. He had since returned to the north, just about the same time that I left. In fact, we traveled together. I was not within the premises when fourth prosecution witness came to court. We discussed about UMBC and BYM in relation to the NPC. I made a statement to Mr. Lin on 23rd October 1962. I was released 2 weeks later. I was told in Jos that I had been released. I was told that about the 12th November 1962. I was arrested on 20th October 1962 and brought down to Lagos. I was served the restriction order in Lagos while still under police custody and after I had made a statement to the police. Fourth prosecution witness is the leader of the Borno Youth Movement and also is the first vice president of the Action Group. It should not be correct that fourth prosecution witness is not the leader of the BYM and the first vice president of the Action Group. There were 4 NPC leaders present during the negotiation with the UMBC leaders. The members were Aman Pategi, Alhaji Isa Keita, Akaman Bida, and the Sadauna. They were the 4 people present. Guys, I need to drink water. All right. So it says here, there were 4 NPC leaders present during the negotiation with the UNBC leaders. The members were Aman Pategi, Alhaji Isa Keita, Makamambida, and the Sadauna. They were the 4 people present. In the absence of the Prime Minister of the Federation, those 4 leaders were the most powerful. The decision took... I'll take that again. 1 second, please. In the absence of the Prime Minister of the Federation, those 4 leaders were the most powerful. The decision to break away from the action group was ratified at that meeting. It was the decision of the... Okay. It was a decision of the party. This is what I was looking for. Okay. It was a decision of the party, and I am leading the UNBC into alliance with NPC. I am not doing this for money. I reported to you that the 22nd accused was trying to form a new party in the north. I reported to you as well that the 22nd accused wanted to displace me as Secretary General. I expressed my opposition to the formation of a new party and my displacement. I also reported that 22nd accused was trying to reorganize the party in order to put his henchmen in charge. I made mention of Ayila Yog being appointed to take over the transport section of the party. Party vehicles were before then under me. We all speculated how they would get the money, and I suggested both 22nd accused and 4th prosecution witness were still in contact with 1st prosecution witness. You said that you would get hold of 1st prosecution witness and ask him to steer clear of the members of the party. By the way, just to be clear, the 1st prosecution witness, Dr. Oladipo Maja, was not a member of Action Group with all of this thing going on. I cannot remember that it was decided that all the parties should abandon their individual flags and have one flag. It was then decided that after the merger, there was to be a new flag for the Action Group. It was decided that the new flag should incorporate the number of states to be set up in Nigeria. We agreed on 4 states in the north, viz. Borno State, Adamawa State, Middle Belt State, and the rest of the far north. During our discussions, we agreed on 9 states for Nigeria. There were proposals about the different number of states from 9 to 13. The Action Group is bitterly opposed to the NPC. I do not know that the NPC is bitterly opposed to and resentful of the activities of the Action Group in the north. That the party... They are not bitterly opposed to you, and they were beating your people to almost killing them. They are not bitterly opposed to you, Lotto. I only know that the parties NPC and AG are opposed to one another. Abba. Burundi and I first came to you before the meeting, and we gave you 3 books of illegal ballot papers because it was on account of our report that you summoned the northern leaders. It is not correct that I felt so disappointed at the result of the elections in the north that I wanted to cause trouble. No person expressed such view openly. I cannot remember we came to attend a meeting in your house during the middle of 1961 and you invited some of us to wait behind. It is not correct that any of us threatened to go and get arms from the 1st prosecution witness and fight in the north. It is not correct that you warned us.
Please leave this one. You are distracted.
But guys, let's quickly rush this thing. It is not correct that any of us threatened to go and get arms from the first prosecution witness and fight in the north. It is not correct that you warned us not to do anything of the sort. I was a member of the Action Group Publicity Committee. You know the thing about this prosecution witness, they were folks within the party or people that were very closely related or who were in close proximity to Papa. It is not correct that any of us threatened to go and get arms from the first prosecution witness and fight in the north. It is not correct that you warned us not to do anything of the sort. I was a member of the Action Group Publicity Committee. There was a committee set up by the Federal Executive Committee to consider the causes of the failure of the party in the Northern Region elections. We had a meeting presided over by Chief F.R.A. Williams. This is the report of the committee, tendered, read in court, and marked Exhibit 49. This subcommittee held its meeting when the Federal Executive Committee was holding its meeting at VIP Rest House Ikeja. I wrote the letter now shown to me. The meetings of the Federal Executive Committee took place on 1st May, 1st June, and 2nd June 1961. You held a press conference at Ibadan on 8th June 1961, and I was present. Members of the subcommittee also pressed upon you to tour Egypt and Ghana and Africa in general to muster world opinion against the excesses in the north. I remember that the committee insisted on your going to Ghana immediately to remove the bad blood between CPP and Action Group. I toured with you to Ghana on 9th June 1961. Fourth prosecution witness was also in the company. The two of us were specially picked in order to put across the terrorization which the committee recommended. Whilst there, you alone went to dine with Dr. Nkrumah. You told me that you dined with Dr. Nkrumah alone. There had been by-election in the Sardauna province. I went there and campaigned. I cannot remember the date. As you suggested, I must have gone to campaign there in November 1961 as elections took place in December 1961. I came to Ibadan in April 1962 to ask for my arrears. I did not actually work for my arrears, but claimed money for refueling. Excuse me. He says, I came to Ibadan in April 1962 to ask for my arrears. I did not actually ask for my arrears, but claimed money for refueling. This is a note I wrote in April 1961 on which is a voucher which I accept. I now remember that I asked for an advance to refuel my car back to Jos. I cannot remember going to... I discussed with him the stoppage of our allowances. I cannot remember going to 22nd accused to discuss the question of stopping our allowances. I discussed with him the stoppage of our allowances. I can now remember that 22nd accused got money for field staff on 15th June 1962. The primary object of any political party is to win elections, and our objective was to win elections in the Middle Belt. I cannot remember that they had been expecting you for a long time there. Certain leaders in Ghana during your visit expressed the view that they had been expecting you for a long time. We also met the opposition party in the house of one Odameten, as well as members of the CCP or CPP. I felt very strongly that without the illegal ballot papers, I would have won. I said that if the things were being done in that way, then the ballot box should be discredited. Some of us spoke in strong terms condemning the use to which the ballot papers were subjected in the North. Some people expressed the view that in view of terrorism malpractices, the ballot box should be discredited. I also said the same thing on that occasion. During the campaign in 1959, I had a really tough time. As far as I know, there were no MPC thugs. Even me that was not there, I think there were MPC thugs. I was even born in 1959, but let's keep reading. As far as I know, there were no MPC thugs. Young men used to be sent to help at polling stations. Young men used to be sent to help at polling stations, as well as bodyguards to Action Group candidates. Early in September 1962, I came to you after I had waited and did not hear from you. I arrived in Lagos on 3rd September 1962. I stayed with 22nd accused at his flat in Ikoyi. It is not correct that I got there on 5th of September 1962. I did not discuss staff salaries and allowances with you. I was one who asked you whether money could be obtained for the staff. You said that money was not available then and that if we waited for a while, money would be forthcoming. I asked about my own allowance and you gave the same answer. I waited. I came from the Jos with girls Gilama. But when I came to you and only 22nd accused were along with me, I'll take that again. I came from Jos with girls Gilama. But when I came to you, only 22nd accused came along with me. Girls Gilama was the treasurer of the UMBC. We also discussed the defection of some of our members from the COR area in the House of Representatives. It was decided that 22nd accused should go to Uyo and see these defecting members and see whether he could persuade them from their objectives. I volunteered to go with 22nd accused. It is not correct that I was sent by 22nd accused to you to collect the money. 22nd accused sent me to collect money from you. This is the receipt. I think if I remember correctly, when I left, you gave me a message that you know the reason these things are contradictory, because they would have asked you a question, you say no, then they ask you another question to trick you, in order to actually say the truth, and you now say yes. So that's why it's going back and forth. Just thought I should say that. Because you notice that the first time we say he didn't do it, then next time he said he did it. They're not adding the questions, they're only adding his, his statement. I think if I remember correctly, when I left, you gave me a message that you would like to see the fourth prosecution witness, Alhaji Gobe Zantashi, after we had left. It is not correct that you sent your private secretary to call fourth prosecution witness Gobe Zantashi, Gales, 22nd accused, and me for you. It is not also correct that we all came there together. I cannot remember that Gales came with us. He joined us later at the flat. There was a time that 22nd accused said the action group was not giving us enough money as we wanted, and said then that the cow was not producing enough milk. It was quite a difficult time, and on the 9th of September 1962. In August 1962, I agreed with 22nd accused that the cow was not producing milk. That was in early August 1962. I showed you the letter of 22nd accused in early August 1962. You told me that we're about to get the government in our hands, and why should the 22nd accused be complaining? It was about 2 weeks or less after my arrival in November 1962 that I received the proof of evidence. I made corrections in my handwriting. The corrections were sent to the Ministry of Justice, and my proof was duly corrected. I got the corrected version from the Ministry of Justice the following day. I have read it several times. There's a particular, that's the end of Dr. Tree's interrogation, because cross-examination. There's one I would have really loved us to read, but not today, definitely. And that's one with Oshuntoku. Oshuntoku and Ogundiro. But it's not that much, but I have to go. Next time we'll be talking about defense, right? But before we even get to the defense, maybe we'll just read this little part of the prosecution that we haven't read. Just a few pages, actually, about 8 pages. It's about 8 pages. See, I've learned a lot reading this book. I've learned a lot reading this book. A stranger can never betray you. It's even crazier with the lies and the inconsistencies. And then you have the case of folks relating with you based on what they can get from you. And then as soon as that thing dries up, they said it, that the cow was no longer producing milk. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell you what I think about any of these things until we do the defense. So that way, we'll answer everything together. But if you want to speak to it, we have a few minutes. I think we have 2 people. So I'll just bring you up and then we'll have your responses. But I hope you enjoyed the reading, all right? Bringing this. Today's session is we read more than anything else. We're going to read a bit more next class. Tomorrow again is Papa's birthday. if I don't attend, there's a particular place I was supposed to be. If I am not there, well, Concilium says, how did these folks feel after Awo left prison? That's their business. The inconsistencies, the betrayal, it's amazing. No, just you know the things you tell people in confidence, you're gonna tell the whole world, or things that you didn't even say, they just manufacture it on the spot. Or they look in your eyes and say things. But no, I won't say anything. When we read, because the best way to actually counter many of the things that they wrote is by reading the defense, and then now read the judgment. Then you can now draw a parallel line to understand exactly what happened. And like I said, when we read like this, it can sound boring, and I know, because like when we're mentioning names and accused, on a normal day, you're like, let me just say what happened, and that's it. But I think it's important that we actually, just in case some of you may not have the opportunity to read, maybe you're busy, you're working or whatever, we can read together. But please buy the book and read if you find the time. Okay. Adventures in Power Book 1. You should read the 2 volumes actually. Adventures in Power Book 1, My March Through Prison. Adventures in Power Book 2, The Traverse of Democracy and the Rule of Law. But I would advise you read Book 2 before you read Book 1. Because Book 2 tells you exactly what happened in 1959 and all the way to what happened in 1962. Book 1 began in 1962. Right? I think the reason was because it was the experience of prison. Go. So that was the first one that came out. Because in this book, you see his letter to Ironsi, the letters that they sent to him while he was in prison, the things that Tafawa Balewa sent. That's when all these things, they were just cooking things. You will know by the time we are done. Okay? But I want us to read the book together. The messages Balewa, the letters he sent to Awo, the conversations that some people had with Balewa on behalf of Awo, what he said, the basis of, how do I put it now, what he had to agree to if he wanted to have his freedom. All those things are inside this book. Okay? I don't know if we're going to really feed everything because it's voluminous, but it's worth it. It's worth reading. Jake's man said they must have been unhappy and name calling as always. I also learned, another lesson I learned, Falana, but yeah. Oh, yeah, Falana. But there's a question a friend of mine asked me a while back. I was like, if everything was going on well, why didn't Papa just stay in the Western region? And of course, it was one of the people that fought for the independence of Nigeria. He wanted to be able to have all these things across the country and do action across the nation. These ones that I went to align with in different parts of the north, they just wanted to, of course, wanted to win elections, which is good. But it looks like they also found in action group, like, the cows will be milked from their own confessions and their own statements. It's follow but tell or Nigeria yo. About your show, you work with people, you partner with people, but I'm sure you get the message. There's a lot to learn. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm not the accused. Again, the book is called My March Through Prison, Adventures in Power, Book 1 by Papa Chief Awolowo. Thank you very much for listening today. We'll be here. We should be here tomorrow. Please come around at 4 p.m. on TikTok and then we'll bring us later. We should be here tomorrow. I'm going to reach out to some people so I'll know exactly what's up. If we're not going to be here, I'll send a message on the Telegram channel. We do have a Telegram channel, like a community. We use the place as the notice board for now. We used to have chats, but I discovered that I was spending too much time correcting misinformation from a particular region of Nigeria because it's a platform open to everybody. So they use it to say pushing things. So because I was spending too much time trying to correct skin, I was like, let's just use that notice board so we'll not fight. So please join Redomi Global on Telegram. So if there's any information I need to get out before 4 p.m. tomorrow, I will let you know on that platform. Thank you very much, Jakes, man. Okay, so thank you very much for being here. I want to thank everybody who has liked and shared the live on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, reposting and all of that. Thank you very much for liking, for commenting. Thanks to everyone who gave gifts on TikTok. I saw the gifts, the heart maze. I may not stop to acknowledge all the gifts. It's because we don't want to break the flow, but I really do appreciate your generosity. May God bless you. Thank you very much. Those of us on different platforms, if you'd like to support what we're doing, please reach out to me on Telegram at Busui Oris. We usually put out account details, but I do it once in a while. Okay, but if you want to support, please reach out. That's my Telegram account is Busui Oris. I have one person. I'll let the person speak, and then we'll call it a day. We'll have the anthems, and to be good night. Concilium, it's going very quick, please. Maybe like 2 minutes max. Ẹkáàlẹ́.
Ẹkáàlẹ́ o.
Ṣé wà?
Mo wà dáadáa o. So
ọjọ́ mẹ́ta.
Ọjọ́ kan pẹ̀lú. So I think two main issues that I want to bring up is the first conversation you were having. Professor Papo Unda, is that his name? That he had with the journalist from Marais. I could sense in the way the man was speaking was like, oh, and he was trying, but he was smart enough not to say it. That we need to remain this Nigeria, keep it one Nigeria. That why are they trying to balkanize Nigeria more or less? But the professor was more or less trying to tell him that, look, from what Baba said in his book, in the book you referenced, the first book he ever wrote, that Nigeria should align itself on ethno-linguistic lines. Essentially, the way people think like Shekiri, that they have to drive through Edo to get to Shekiri, not knowing that Shekiri, if you look at it by coastline, it's a straightforward route to get to Yoruba land. It's not that far. And obviously the Okun and the Igbomina people, they were more or less trying to add them to the Yoruba. People that said they should come and join us. Are we going to, in what's the word again? What's the word I'm looking for? Well, like, take them in. No, they're going to stay in their own land, and we'll just incorporate their areas into the West. Unfortunately, which leads me to the second issue that in this reading that you did today, especially about these people that Baba was speaking, because from everything you read, they were just, I think these people were just looking like a cash cow, just collect money and just come back, keep collecting money. But they know the underlying thing that they wanted to do was, okay, wrest power away from the MPC. But in spite of that, they were still using the AG as more like a cash cow. Let's just keep feeding ourselves. Because it was almost like AG had an inexhaustible amount of cash that they was always giving them. And they continue to collect it. So it was easy for the federal government to turn them. Because the truth about it is that nobody that you get that deep in with will turn against you. Because just the way those people turned against. And obviously, because Akitola was a member of AG, he knew Baba had relationships with these people. I don't think he liked it, because he had some sort of thing for Sardana back then. So he was looking at all these small pieces of people, all them thief and the Bonu people, like, who are these people? Now let's deal with the main people. But the truth of the matter was that Baba was more or less trying to liberate those people, which they are still fighting for till this very day right now. It's almost like they cursed themselves back then. Their leaders cursed themselves back then, and they are still fighting to this very day. So I think what Baba should have done, like you rightly said, is that we should have stayed in Western region, left them to Fulani. That's their problem. What should have been fighting for is trying to get his own people in one block and just leave everybody else alone. I think that's what I can add to this. But it was a fantastic reading, because what I feel is that I wonder how they've all felt after Baba left prison. Because I still haven't heard anything about it. Because I think I heard a few things from my dad back in the day that I want to because you know a way to know how to denigrate you without actually saying anything. When because one person I heard on regular basis was the Maja Nyeke. No one dying alone. No. I didn't say anything else about him other than that. My dad just I'm like, why? I said, what did he do? I just be looking at them like, tell me something that I don't know. Obviously, when I grew up and found out about him, even Taka lost credibility after all that whatnot. He lost a lot of credibility, which is why even his own people don't think of him as anything now. That's what's the problem with a lot of them back then. They were not really fighting the cause. They knew the cause was just, but they were not fighting it wholeheartedly. And Mama was fighting it like, oh, fine, let's break away from these people. This thing is a mistake. The British just lumped us all together. They are individual nations on their own. And the British just lumped, because that's what the Benue people still say to this very day. They were never conquered by the Fulani. Never. They were never conquered by the Fulani. It was not the British that handed the Fulani over to them. I handed them over to the Fulani.
Handed them over to the Fulani.
Yeah, they handed them over to the Fulani. So that's what Awolowo was looking at. Break away from these people, set up your own individual. If your block, if your region was voting against the FPC and voting in block with the West, obviously you'd have the reason to create a state. But all of them were just a bunch of I don't know what to call them. Let me not insult anybody's grandfather. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Consider Proventus. That was fantastic. Let me just say that our next session, in this series, we are going to spend a lot of time on the defense, because I want you to listen to Awolowo's defense. So everything they said, like I said, he published the prosecution's statement, and it's good. So we have read those things, okay? And I try to minimize my interjections and my explanations. Don't should read those things. So by the time we now come back, we'll now read his defense and understand the fact that the things they said, and so on and so forth. But today we're stopping with Docotry's statement. Maybe we'll read. I really want us to read Oshodokun, because that one I just felt stabbed in my heart reading that. But he also was on the side of himself, Ogundiran, and the rest of them had moved on with Akintola at the time. But such is life. The beautiful thing is, we know how the story ends. I was released from prison, 3rd August 1966. That's how the story ends. And some people had to die. Not treason. So the coup they were talking about, some other people now organized the coup. The people who, this life, the people who said he was trying to plan a coup, many of them were killed by those who now organized a coup much later. And contrary to popular opinion, those who, or to Igbo opinion I should say, those who organized the coup did not do it for him. The only thing they did that had to do with that was releasing from prison, and even that they did not do it. Some days before the coup, in fact, the day before the coup, the person that was supposed to fly the helicopter to Calabar was nowhere to be found. The one that was supposed to go to Enugu, the car developed a fault. That's why I know that it had nothing to do with that war. But that's another matter on its own. So continue this next time we meet, but we'll be here tomorrow, God willing. If there's any reason why I won't be here, I'm going to put it on Telegram channel. So please join us on Telegram, Redomi Global. And if you want to buy any of these books, Redomi Books. And if you want to support us, reach out to me on Telegram at Busui Oris. Thank you very much for a fantastic session today. We'll have the anthems now, and then we'll call it today. So we'll start with the Nigerian anthem, and then we'll go to the Yoruba anthem. Thank you very much.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace all battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hand to our children a banner without stain. All of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Nigeria may be Iṣẹ́ wa fúnlẹ̀ wá, fún ilẹ̀-èdè wa. Tàgbéga, tàgbéga, tàgbéga fáyé rí. Ìgbàgbọ́ wa ni pé láti bẹ̀rù làbọ̀ bọ́. Ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká jọlá. Ìṣọ̀kan àtòmìnira ni ẹ jẹ́ ká máa lépa. Tẹ̀síwájú fọ̀pọ̀ ire àtòhun tó dára. Ọmọ ògbàlódé bọ́ sípò ẹ̀tọ́ rẹ̀. Ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ gbogbo adúláwọ̀.
Àwa ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀, ìmọ́lẹ̀ wọ ni wọ́kùn lágbára Ọlọ́run. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò ní bàjẹ́, Nàìjíríà náà ò ní bàjẹ́. Àwọn ẹ̀kọ́ tá à ń kọ́ yìí àrílò àmúlò will not fail our ancestors and those who are coming behind us. May we be the solutions to the problems that we have in this country. May we be the answers to the questions that many have on their minds, because we are the ones we have been waiting for. May God bless you. May God keep you and cause His face to shine upon you. Thank you very much for being part of today's session. I'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Ife time, West African time. Have a great evening. Good night. Odaro.